Jody's Auto Service Centers can do for your vehicle and you'd never take your vehicle anywhere else.
My fleet is small, 14 trucks and cars. It's a struggle every day with parts, employees, and scheduling, but one thing I never worry about is vehicles. Jody's has special fleet pricing, special in and out service, or free shuttle and pickup and delivery service. And they do everything, service, repair, and maintenance. That makes my life much easier. All my vehicles go to Jody's.
Latest technology and highly trained technicians means we could do it all. From the most highly technical repairs to everyday oil change specials, tires, everything, even diesels. Jody'sAuto.com. Schedule free shuttle service or pickup and delivery. Get a tire quote, get financing. Jody's Auto Service Centers, voted best of the best by our customers year after year. We're your neighbor since 1984 with 3 full-service locations in Fort Smith and Van Buren. See for yourself at JODYSauto.com.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, ample sunshine. Our high this afternoon, mid-30s north, mid-40s south. Clear skies overnight will drop down into the lower 20s. Back to sunshine on Friday, a high on Friday, right around 45. And then Saturday, mixture clouds and sunshine, highs in the low to mid-50s. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
The weather is brought to you by Shamrock Liquor Warehouse, 5609 Midland Boulevard, your leader in fine wines, beers, and spirits. You're listening to The Morning Rush on ESPN 95.3, KERX Paris, Fort Smith.
Don't touch my beef jerky now.
Coming to you live from the Crabtree RV Center studios. Broadcasting on ESPN Arkansas and streaming on hitthatline.com.
We got a good one tonight. You got a team in here that respect it. Oh, ask me if I'm all right. Why can't they dominate? And we not doing it.
We're going to go get one and celebrate on somebody else's field.
Yeah. Matt Jones may take it to the house. The dunk.
Both said you had very motivational words at halftime.
It's halftime with Phil Olson and Matt Jones.
From the bottom of my toes to the top of my head. What's my hot dog? Let's go, man.
The angles were so bad, we showed them at halftime.
What they for one racerback?
Like, what in the world were we thinking?
It's vintage Matt Jones. 1, 2, 3. Turn it.
Call or text 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Olson and Matt Jones.
Good morning and welcome in. Halftime is underway. Welcome in here today on ESPN Arkansas, hitthatline.com, and the Hit That Line Now app. I'm Phil Olson in studio with my partner Matt Jones and producer Kristen Johnston with us, at least for the first couple of hours today. And we appreciate you tuning in. It's a beautiful day outside, but it is a sad day across our state and really across, I think, the entire landscape of college sports and the sports reporting landscape for the most part. We brought it up yesterday with what we knew about the situation with Bob Holt. If you had not heard, he passed away last night around 10:30 in the evening. Wally Hall was the first to release the news about it. I saw that first thing when I woke up today. And so it's a very sad day for us. This would be the day that we would usually be speaking with Bob, who had been joining us on this show since its very start back in August of, it would have been September of 2018. And it's hit all of us very, very hard. I know you've listened today on our stations. Chuck has talked a lot about it. It was great that he had Clay Henry on with him today. He and Bob shared a lot of time together in press boxes. I heard Tom Murphy on with the Morning Rush. We're going to have Grant Hall on with us in a little more than an hour. We had Grant yesterday, but that was before, really knew how to handle the situation before Bob had passed and the family had asked for privacy about this. And obviously, that there's a lot of media members who were abreast of the situation, but just were reluctant to talk about it out of respect for Bob's family's wishes. So, Matt, I continue to be, just very sad about this. I think most people really are. And I just remember I've been part of the Razorback family now going back to 2011 when I started filling in for Chuck. But I met Bob when he was covering Travelers Naturals games when Springdale first got the AA team. And I was still doing Travelers games. Bob would cover some of those for the Northwest paper, and my first memory of him, I'll never forget, because it was unique. Everything about Bob was unique in a very good way. I would make notes packets about the Travelers, 5 or 6 pages of notes, individual notes on the hitters and the pitchers and trends and all of that kind of stuff, knowing full well there really weren't a lot of people that were reading those stuff. It was just my own prep, give it to the other broadcaster. Maybe the writer covering that game might glance at it. So it was one of the first games I ever did at Arvest Ballpark. I'm sitting there in the radio booth getting ready for the pregame show. I look to my left through the window, and there is a gentleman who's covering the game, and I think he was the only writer in there at that moment, and he's got my notes, and he's reading them where he literally has the piece of paper up against his forehead. Like, Bob was that nearsighted. I'd never seen anybody reading anything like that before. That's the first time I ever laid eyes on him. And I mean, it was entertaining to see somebody read like that, but he was reading those as closely as anybody ever read those notes. That's how thorough Bob was. We're talking about a AA baseball game here. And that was the start of, just getting to know him a little bit. And when I started talking with Tommy Kraft about doing the show, and Ty Richardson was also with me as the co-host, then we knew we wanted guests on a daily basis that would come in with some expertise and also, in a lot of ways, like immediate credibility. And Bob was the first person that I contacted to come on this show. And he was happy to do it. I wanted somebody who everybody knew, who everybody trusted, and that everybody, well, I didn't know at that point that everybody liked him, but it's obvious everybody did. And I think he added that instant credibility. He added, I think, I don't know the word to put it. Would it be joy? There was just a way that he would communicate with people that made it seem that he enjoyed being in your presence. It didn't always sound like he had fun coming on the show with us, Matt. I mean, every time he came on, he's one of those people that always sounded and looked like he was smiling. That's how I'll remember him.
Yeah, heavy hearts today across the state. One of my first people I talked to when I was an incoming freshman up there. Clay Henry probably still has the Hogs Illustrated or ways, but Bob Holt interviewing the players and stuff. And that's one of the things that I remember about Bob is how authentic he is. And there's, in a world of when you're talking to, and I guess it's even bigger now than it was, 20 years ago. But when you talk to a reporter and then the next day or the next week, you see what the article was in the paper and you're like, I didn't say that. This is nothing. You never had to worry about that with Bob. Bob, you could always trust him. You knew Bob was going to put the right spin on it, and not really a spin. He was just going to tell it how it is, and that's what you always felt, because there wasn't going to be anything added or any type of narrative or going for clicks. He was just going to be authentic, and I think that resonates throughout, and I think that's why one of the reasons he was so successful for so long.
I think of the word credibility to put out there, and it isn't just the credibility with the readers. That's first and foremost. You have to have credibility with the people that you're communicating with or that you're producing content for. That was immediate with Bob. It takes longer to develop that credibility with the athletes, with the coaches, and also for you to be doing your job in a way where everybody that is around you that is a colleague also has that sort of immediate respect. And I think there just aren't a lot of people that are able to get that kind of respect immediate on all those levels because of how you are one-on-one with people, how you are in the press conference situations, what it is that you say to people and how you write about them. And like you're talking about, Matt, being honest with the quotes and never taking something out of context. And I think that Bob achieved something that is really rare to achieve, to be universally beloved inside the industry that you work in. And that's from your competitors. It's from those who you cover. It's from those who you work with, who you work for, and for those who consume your product. And it's really lovely to see now a lot of there's stories being written about Bob all across the country right now. AL.com. I just finished a story by Michael Casagrande, who's been covering Alabama and now Auburn as a columnist for a long, long time. Ross Dellinger writing about him as well. It's just he impacted us here in the state of Arkansas, but it's really something to see that this was not just a statewide thing. This was not just a Razorback thing with how people viewed Bob Holt. This was a college sports thing all across the landscape, not really even just the SEC, because I can see tweets and messages coming out from people that are covering teams at all four corners of the country. Now, I think they viewed Bob as a certain kind of gold standard. And I'm just talking about the profession, how you do your profession. We inside the media that cover Arkansas that got to know him on a personal level, and I think I got to know him on a pretty good level, not anywhere near the level that his colleagues at the Democrat Gazette did, because I think those people were and are family, and so my heart really goes out to those people as well. But he achieved it in a personal way too, and that's just about as difficult to pull off at the same time. So, I mean, that's what's on my mind today. And hey, there's a lot of stuff going on in college sports and in Razorback land that we'll hit on halftime today, but also with our guests coming in. And, you know, Danny West is coming up soon. Danny is he's around my age, around your age, Matt. This is somebody that would have been reading Bob Holt growing up, I can't wait to talk to Danny about his experiences and what it would have been like when you're young into the industry, and then you come across somebody that you have an idea of what he might be like, and then he actually is exactly like that too.
Yeah, I saw yesterday they had this 6-foot rule for COVID, and we're definitely not living in that anymore. How do we get back to this thing? Whose idea that was, where everybody has to stay about 6 feet away from each other, that was a brilliant idea. What do we have to do to get back to where everybody just stays about 6 foot away from each other, man? That would be kind of something I'd be into.
Do I need to step back a little bit?
No. I'm just saying we're definitely out of the COVID phase. Maybe that's been 2-3 years going, but there was an old remembrance of it yesterday where they were like 6 feet apart. I was like, yeah, remember the good old days when everybody had to stay 6 feet apart from everybody and kind of enjoyed your personal space?
I didn't even think about COVID very much until I heard Rhett Lashley speaking about the idea of, hey, we at SMU, our whole team could get COVID, not have to play in this ACC championship game, and we would be right in the playoff. So why would we even try to go out and play? Now, they're going to go. He says, we're competitors. We'll go out, try to win this championship as they should. But I believe 100% in what it is he's saying. We've turned these conference championships, I think, into what college basketball and baseball tournaments have been, depending on the league that you play in, though.
It's a bogus. The NCAA, the playoff committee, I'm going to disagree with Rhett Lashley, and I love Coach Rhett Lashley, former teammates. As long as they don't get beat by 47, you should not be punished for your success. They earn the right to go play in the ACC championship game. They're either in or out. Now, I get it. You win it, you get in from Clemson. I just don't think you drop that far out. The playoff committee should. I do not. I think it's a bad look. Because they're in there. You earned the bonus spin. You earned the chance to go the trophy game. You had to fight for that and earn that. You shouldn't be punished, and somebody who didn't earn that right should be able to leapfrog you. I get what he's saying, and I heard what Shane Beamer said too. He's like, we just possibly beat the ACC championship, ACC champions on their field, and we're not going to get to go. So I get some of the coach. I think it's some coaches speak going on, but I think SMU's in.
I think they're in too, but based on what Ward Manuel said.
But I get it, yeah.
Yeah, I'd be nervous if I were Rhett Lashley. And not nervous in that we can't go out and win this game and everything, because they certainly can. But I'd be nervous that even if they lose by less than a touchdown, that there is a very good chance that they are done. And I can't even believe that would actually be the case when they went undefeated in their league there. But that's what, I mean, the conference championships right now, to me, in the Big Ten and the SEC, they're what the SEC baseball and basketball tournaments are like. Look, these are fun tournaments and everything, but hey, we could get rid of those things and move right to the tournament that matters and not skip a beat. There's something about the conference championship games in which I think we have the very same thing happening. But it's only in the SEC and the Big Ten, right? I mean, I don't think you can play your way out. I never thought you could play your way out of the national tournament by having a poor showing in the conference tournament.
It's
I feel
bogus.
the same way about these championship games.
I think it's bogus, and I think you can't really complain if you're in the SEC or the Big Ten, and they're going to take 4 teams a year because that looks like what it was. I thought it was going to be 3 out of the SEC, and maybe that's it. If Clemson beats SMU, both of them go. Maybe Alabama doesn't get in. You really can't complain if you're in the Big Ten or in the SEC. If you're going to get 4 teams a year, you kind of know what you have to do.
They're going to do everything they can to get this Alabama-Notre Dame matchup because ratings, absolute ratings. Halftime today includes Brett Dolan joining us 1:15, Grant Hall in 1 hour for his memories of Bob Holt, and in just a moment, we'll visit with Danny West from 24/7 Sports, hogsports.com, to go through what happened yesterday and what's happening really over the next month or so with signing period and the transfer portal opening on Monday. It's halftime. We're glad you're with us, so stay with us too.
This is halftime.
3 on the way, and it's done. It is over. There goes Auburn. The number 1 team in the country is defeated, and they are rushing the court at Budweiser Arena. They are rushing the floor at Budweiser Arena.
Hey, don't do that. No.
Listen to every Razorback basketball game right here on ESPN 95.3 and hitthatline.com.
Ty Richardson, we're at Wheeler Power Sports in downtown Fort Smith. Lindsay, what's going on this month?
We have the new Kawasaki Ridge side-by-sides in stock. Most of them have a full cab with heat and air. They have a 1000cc inline 4-cylinder engine. We also have new Kawasaki Brute Force 450s and 750s in stock. And we are stocked up for dirt bikes and ATVs for the holiday season. Come by and see us or visit WheelerPowersports.com.
Wheeler Power Sports, keeping the good times rolling since 1967.
'Tis the season for Hardee's handcrafted goodness. Made from scratch buttermilk biscuits pulled fresh from the oven. The return of special traditions like salty sweet candied bacon. And faithful friends like Hardee's cinnamon raisin biscuits gathered near to us and served all day, all season long. From icing drizzled biscuits to savory charbroiled burgers, unwrap the holiday goodness of Hardee's. And now enjoy breakfast till noon. Available for a limited time at participating locations. Items may vary.
Some days you hit snooze, but not today. Today you have to go on a run to get burgers for the tailgate. You've got to haul something heavy, a cooler stocked with Bud Light. And you've got beer and football, nothing is hard, until the other team scores. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly, 21 plus, copyright 2023 Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
If you're interested in continuing your involvement in high school athletics and want to make some extra money, what better way to do so than by becoming an official? For information on how you can give back to student athletes in Arkansas, please contact us at 501-955-2500. Again, that's 501-955-2500. The Arkansas Activities Association is looking for sports officials, and you may be the answer.
World-class trout fishing is the star of the show at Gaston's White River Resort, where a few days away from all the worries and stress will make all right in your world. Gaston's has friendly, experienced guides to help you land your limit. Enjoy your stay at Gaston's in one of their private cottages, or reserve a lodge for up to 20 people. Call now and let Gaston's help you plan your next getaway on the White River. 870-431-5202. That's 870-431-5202. Or learn more at Gastons.com. Gaston's, a first-class time, every time.
Precision Garage Door features the finest quality materials, installation, and service for all your garage door needs, including garage door repair and new garage doors and openers. Fully licensed and insured with the largest showroom in Northwest Arkansas at 1907 Town West Drive in Rogers and in Fort Smith at 416 North 10th Street. Call Precision Garage Door today at 844-PDS-DOOR or check them out online at PrecisionDoorNWA.com. Financing is available. Precision Garage Door, voted best garage door company of Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley.
Fall is here, and that means cooler weather, football, and family, which makes it the perfect time to visit Southern Tire Mart, your family's #1 tire store. Southern Tire Mart is your trusted partner for top quality tires, professional services, and competitive pricing. Visit us in Fort Smith at 9700 Highway 271 and let us ensure your vehicle is ready for anything fall brings your way. Southern Tire Mart is a proud dealer of Yokohama tires. We keep America rolling.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Baby, Diamond blue, baby, New York City. Knows every girl so pretty. Do you think we'll be in love forever? Do you think we'll be in love? Diamond blue, baby, New York City. Give me it now, love down and pretty. Do you think we'll be in love forever? Do you think we'll be in love?
Find Halftime on 99.5 in Northwest Arkansas, 95.3 in Fort Smith and the River Valley, 96.3 in Hot Springs and Central Arkansas, 104.3 in Harrison and Mountain Home, and everywhere on hitthatline.com. Join the conversation. Call or text 877-377-6963. Now back to the hosts. Here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
The second day of the national signing period, the early signing period. Most of it all happens yesterday. Not much of it, if anything, happens in February any longer. And the spotlight's a little bit off of it as well with the transfer portal. But we're going to talk about all of that stuff right now with 24/7 Sports' Danny West at hogsports.com. Always good to talk with you, Danny. How are you today?
Hey, Phil, I'm hanging in there. Always great to be on with you guys. Been a long week, but I'm excited to be here.
Good. Before we get going, you were around my age and around Matt's age.
Yes, sir.
And you're from the state of Arkansas. You came across Bob Holt many times in the press box. What was it like? What was it like being around him as someone that would have grown up reading him and then having him as a colleague?
Yeah, I did grow up reading him. I don't like using the word idolize, but I kind of did, not just Bob, but Tom and Otis and Dudley and Clay, so many people. And, you grow up and you hope to move to Fayetteville from a little small town and maybe get a seat in the box someday. And lo and behold, it happens. And you find out Bob's not just a great sports writer. He's a great man and a great friend. And we're going to miss him. We've taken a hit here, Phil. I mean, that's a big one now.
Yeah.
That's for our little media circle. He was kind of the rock there, so it's going to be different. It's going to take a long time, but I want to say I pray for his family wherever they may be, and anybody that knew him. You're hurting right now.
Well, it would kind of just segue into what he might have been writing about, which obviously would have been more RD's job over at the Democrat Gazette, but. Everybody does kind of have a hand in it when it comes down to signing period. Some surprises yesterday, mostly good surprises as well. Madden Iyamaliava signing to play at Arkansas. This seemed like that really came out of right field. There's another wide receiver, too, coming out of California that felt like a surprise as well. Both were flipped from UCLA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a couple of, excuse me, Phil, been talking a lot, but a couple of teammates there at Long Beach, California, Poly High School, and the receiver you're talking about, of course, we'll talk about Madden here in a second, but the receiver, Jace Brown, had been committed over there since July 4th, I want to say. He made an Independence Day commitment to the Bruins, 6'4", 200, borderline 4-star. He's close. I think there's maybe a handful of guys separating him and 4-star status, but number 58 player in California, and a lot to like there. And Phil, that's kind of honestly, that's kind of where it started for me. I heard about Jace coming long before I heard about Madden. The receiver, I was told probably last week sometime, maybe a few days ago anyway, that it looked like things were moving at a rapid pace with him. And lo and behold, maybe 2 days ago, we caught wind that Madden might be on the market too. So yesterday, I was kind of curious to see what might happen there. Obviously, you saw Arkansas make a little bit of room over the course of the week. You saw some decommitments. I know people saw that as, well, we can't even beat Memphis. We're losing to Memphis now, and Louisville's taking our. I'm not sure that's the case, guys. I think maybe they were opening up a little bit of spots and trying to figure out some things there. So that requires some tough decisions and tough conversations in itself. And kudos to Arkansas for doing their job, because their job is to try to get the best players possible. And I think they tried to do that yesterday. They also needed a big push. A shot in the arm on signing day is always needed, especially when a couple of these guys start trending other directions. Again, today you might see one come off the commitment list. Not a huge surprise, guys, but Connor Howes, a 3-star offensive lineman, seems to be trending to Ole Miss at this point. So I'm just going to tell you, I think that's where he's headed. I do think Arkansas has got a chance, not just to offset that loss in terms of ranking. Excuse me, guys, I'm struggling with my voice, but there is another 4-star offensive tackle down in the same state in Florida, Chasten Brown. Don't be surprised if you see him on campus next week for an official visit. And he's actually ranked higher than the one you're probably going to be losing today. So could help you out a little bit there. They've got a couple other targets that could wait until February and boost their ranking a little bit. Now, ranking is obviously a big topic. I'm sure this class, people have seen it, probably hovering somewhere around 29th to 33, depending on which service you use. We hope you use 24/7 Sports, but obviously if you lose Connor today, that's going to drop you back a few more spots. But like we said, if you can keep gaining, another 4-star here, maybe another high 3-star there next week, you got the number 1 JUCO corner in the country coming in for a visit. Keyshawn Davila out of Northwest Mississippi Community College. So I'm getting long-winded there, but there's still some options out there for them to continue to close this thing out and help that ranking a little bit. I know the ranking's not super exciting to people, but yesterday definitely helped.
What about a tight end? We were kind of talking about yesterday, just kind of a position of need to, somebody to go there with Luke Hawes. Did we pick up a tight end in this class, Danny?
They did. They got a high school tight end, Matt, Gavin Garrettson out of Chico, California. He's at Pleasant Valley High School, I want to say, about 6'5", 240. He was originally planning to go to San Diego State, Matt, where his brother plays. Didn't have a ton of big-time offers, just to be honest with you, until Arkansas and maybe a couple others there at the end started coming in. But Gavin's got potential. We saw him get a nice little bump there, a couple of them towards the end in the rankings. So a two-way guy. He plays defensive end, was much more productive on defense than he was offense this year. So if it doesn't work out on tight end, which is where I expect him to start out, a guy that big with that much production, flip him over there and see what he can do. So they do have him, and I want to tell you about another one coming in next week, Matt. This one's interesting, guys, because he's a transfer target. Zach Atkins out of Northwest Missouri State. Now, I know what you're thinking, because a lot of people just heard Northwest Missouri State, and they're thinking the same thing. But I'll tell you this, he's already got offers from Arkansas, LSU, Ole Miss, Kentucky, North Carolina, South Carolina, Colorado. A lot of competition there. And he's only got like 300 yards in 2 years at Northwest Missouri State. Only a few hundred yards, and that type of offer list tells you they're putting a premium on certain positions. This is a guy who's recently hit a growth spurt, kind of a freak athlete. And I know that current school he's at may turn some people off, but I want to tell you, you would take Andrew Armstrong again all day. You would take Tesla all day, coming from Hillsboro or Hilltop College or wherever he's from. And John Ridgway, of course, coming from a very small school. You would take those guys all day. So it's not about where they're from necessarily. There's good players everywhere. There's guys who slip through the cracks, get a growth spurt like this tight end. there's a lot that can happen. So don't always be turned off immediately by the school name.
I want to ask about quarterbacks with Grayson Wilson and with Madden Iamaleava, because Wilson was surprised yesterday when I think KATV interviewed him about it. He gave the perfect answer about, hey, I'll just have to work harder and I'll outwork anybody for that position. But they got younger at quarterback in the last week with Malachi announcing he's going to go into the portal. I'm assuming KJ Jackson slides into the role as the number 2, although maybe there'll be a competition to see who gets some snaps next year. It's just a feeling that Green is the quarterback next season and the veteran of the group too. But with Iama, see, we're gonna have to all practice his name here.
I call him Madden, Phil.
Madden Iamaleava and Grayson Wilson. I mean, sooner or later, one of these two kids is going to beat out the other, and one will be leaving the program. It's just a matter of when.
That's right, and who knows what that's going to look like a year from now, right? But it's a unique situation yesterday. The Wilsons weren't told that it was happening, and people can make of that what they will. I see it both ways. If I'm Mr. Wilson, Doug Wilson, and I see that, and that happens to me while my kid is trying to enjoy his ceremony and being interviewed, and that's how he finds out. Yeah, I'm probably a little bit frustrated with that. My boy's been committed for a year and a half. It'd be not that you're demanding the coaches tell you every move, but you guys know what I mean. You'd like to be slipped a little note like that. But at the same time, guys, I understand Arkansas's situation. And if, they didn't expect, in my opinion, to lose Malachi Singleton, right? So they've got a spot to fill. And suddenly you've got the younger brother of a former 5-star guy, really heavily recruited 4-star guy in his own right that wants to come. Well, yeah, you're probably going to take him if you've got a spot, and he's going to bring a receiver with him, and it's going to give you a little bit of a boost on National Signing Day. I understand that. And on Arkansas's end, if they start spreading the word through Wilson and through third parties that, hey, we're going to take this guy too, well, now it gives – it's kind of a mess there, and it could allow other teams to slip in there and steal the quarterback that wants to come to you. So there's a lot of moving parts there. I hate it for both sides because I'm sure that was really difficult. But in the end, like I said in the opening there, Arkansas's got a job to do, and that's to get the best players they can on campus. And Grayson, you nailed it there. I thought he knocked it out of the park with his answer. I'm sure he was surprised and blindsided by it, but he's a competitor, man. He's going to get in there and work, and who knows? I think 2 or 3 spots separate these guys in the rankings. Madden might be a little bit ahead of him, but they got to go out there and prove it too.
And in some way, it's easier when you're coming in, Danny, and you're just number 5 on the depth chart because that's all you're going to do anyways.
Sure.
You're going to work. That's kind of because when I came in, there was Ryan Sorahan, Tavares Jackson, you had Zach Clark, you had other guys. So you come in, your fifth is like, hey man, I'm just going to work my butt off and we'll see what happens. Danny, who's our best defensive player that you like that we got yesterday?
Oh, it's easy, Matt. That's Tavion Wallace. He's the highest-rated guy. I'll probably cheat a little bit. That's cheating there some. So I'll probably go on down to the next one. But Tavion Wallace is the answer. 4-star linebacker out of Georgia, Appling County. You saw Georgia. You saw Florida State come in there towards the end trying to steal him. But Tavion did admit to me last night that as long as T. Will was there, he was probably coming. So that's the easy answer, Matt. The second one I really like is probably Kevin Otis. That's Oatis out of Hattiesburg, Mississippi. He's a borderline 4-star guy, 6'2", 295. I think you can find so much value in guys like that, especially in the Southeast. You've seen Arkansas attack the defensive line class, the high school class for this year's cycle much harder than they have in recent years. I can't recall a 4 or 5 signee defensive line class from the high school ranks, and now you've still got the opportunity to go out and fill some of your more pressing immediate needs via the portal, which is nothing new for Arkansas. They've kind of leaned on the portal in that regard for D linemen. So, I'd probably go Otis. I really like Reginald Vaughn, and if I don't shut up now, I'll keep naming every defensive player on the list.
For somebody with a sore voice, you are doing a lot of talking, Danny, and I appreciate that. Hey,
thank you.
But I need to ask about the portal, and so it's like you bring up what their immediate needs are right now. we were talking yesterday, well, who's going to go with Satania as far as the, top receiver and everything? Well, Isaiah Satania is going into the transfer portal. You get surprises like this. We have people texting in now that say they think that Luke Hasz is going to go into the portal. We're asking who in this class can you team up with Luke Hasz. You don't really know what your immediate needs are because the next 26 days are what that's all about. That's why you think you know what you need. It turns out you may need a whole lot more of that or something completely different.
But it's the toughest part of the job, not just for coaches, but for recruiting writers. I mean, people ask me, how many are they going to take at this spot? And I'm like, well, I could tell you 5 right now, but if a player gets mad here in 5 minutes, it's probably going to be 6. So, I mean, it could change that fast, and who knows from day to day what the number might look like. But I'm with you on that, Phil. It's going back to some of their needs, man. I think it's pretty glaring for me. Wide receiver, obviously, at the top of the list, but offensive linemen too, guys. This was the 5th year. I'm not going to spend too much time killing them for it. They had an understaffed, if you will, offensive line. For SEC standards, they were by far the lowest in terms of scholarship guys available this year, and they've got to rebuild that. They knew what they were walking into this year with the offensive line, and there was improvement, in my opinion. I think Eric Mateos improved the line this year, but again, it's the 5th year in a row that you finished with more than 30 sacks given up this year. So you've got to fix that, man, because it just seems to me, Phil and Matt, you get in so many of these coin toss type games, right? 1-possession games, and how many times in the 4th quarter does it come down to Arkansas being in a 3rd and 9, obvious pass situation, and A&M or LSU's just teeing off, and there's nothing you can do about it. Your quarterback's running around, and the game's over. And so I think, no disrespect to any of the linemen, they're still developing. They're still going to get better. I agree they've got talent on hand capable of getting better in the SEC. But for me, I'd like to see another tackle or two, guys. I don't know about you, but I would. And then defensively, the back end, got to get some secondary help back there.
A little salt water with a little warm salt water gargle, some fish.
Man, I'm going to throw it down, brother.
I'll ask you next week or next time about the offensive lineman we lost to LSU. maybe let's keep our in-state guys. Maybe that might help.
Well, let's try to get
buddy. Yeah, I will hit on that real quick here, Matt. That's a trend, ain't it? And I think it's interesting, guys. I noted this on Hog Sports this morning. Now, I'm not saying it's the reason for it, because obviously transfer portal opens up so many opportunities. I think it makes kids a little more willing to leave the state. NIL obviously makes kids leave the state. But I don't think it's a coincidence that you lose a guy like Alani and you haven't really had an in-state anchor ever since he left. And suddenly over the last 4 or 5 years, you've got this new trend developing of guys leaving the state. Again, Arkansas's record on the field has a lot to do with that over the last 10, 12 years, but it can't be a coincidence. I'd like to see, something done about that. They've got to fix it inside the state. Got to.
I agree with you.
Danny, let's try to do this again in a couple of weeks when we have a sense of needs and who's coming and who's going, all right?
I'd be more than happy to. I always appreciate you guys.
Well, same here. Thanks for making time for us today with that sore throat. Very good job. Danny
all right,
West,
buddy.
24/7 Sports. Yeah, the salt water helps. The fisherman's friend helps. A little warm water with honey to gulp. Don't drink the salt water. Drink the honey water. You'll be okay. 877-377-6963 if you want to hit on signing day with us or anything else. And halftime is right back after the break.
As being a fan, there's a fire that burns in me just like when I was 7 years old, my first game in Little Rock, Arkansas.
This is halftime. You can now download our new app in the iTunes or Google Play Store. Listen anytime and anywhere on your favorite mobile device. Just search Hit That Line now.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download
download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code BUY to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code BUY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BUY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
You're listening to Halftime Live from the Crabtree RV Center studios. Crabtree RV Center, where RVing is life.
Walk-Ons is always a win, whether it's for a post-game celebration, drinks with the crew, or an easy weeknight dinner. Walk-Ons has you covered. Scratch-made dishes, wall-to-wall TVs, craft beers and cocktails. Dig into their mouth-watering menu items like po' boys, gumbo, and voodoo shrimp, plus fan favorites like juicy burgers and fresh salads. Find your nearest location in Rogers, Fayetteville, Fort Smith, Conway, and Little Rock, or order online or in the app. Walk-On Sports Bistro for the win.
College football moment is brought to you by ServPro.
College football teams have moments they recovered from and made it like it never even happened. For instance, TCU walked into the locker room at halftime in the 2016 Alamo Bowl, down 31-0. The Horned Frogs stormed into the second half and erased a 31-point deficit to force overtime, and eventually won it in the third overtime, 47-41.
ServPro, like it never even happened.
At Dobson Fiber, we're helping you build stronger connections by bringing the fastest internet network available to your business. Why fiber? Fiber internet provides reliable, symmetrical, blazing speeds. Without any interruptions or buffering, you can rely on Dobson for all your data needs. With Dobson Fiber as your premium internet provider, you can focus on the things that matter and the connections you build. To see if fiber is available to you, visit Dobson.net. Dobson Fiber, building stronger connections.
When you need tough and paint just isn't enough, check out River City Coatings in Van Buren. When it comes to your metals, paint can peel and crack over time. Whether it's your patio furniture, rims or trims on your automobile, or heavy equipment, no one has time for a redo. Powder coating provides the toughness you need. Preserve your investment with powder coating from River City Coatings. River City Coatings, certified John Deere, Caterpillar, ISO 9001, Packer, and UL provider of tough. River City Coatings, 471-7675 or online at rivercitycoatings.com.
Man, I wish I knew you were here. We hear that every day at In Stock Parts, located off Highway 45 across from the cold storage in Fort Smith. Are you a maintenance technician, landscaper, farmer, or a do-it-yourselfer in need of bearings, belts, or roller chain, or safety supplies like gloves, safety glasses, or earplugs? Maybe you need drill bits, tap and die sets, lubricants, or even a gas-powered pump or generator. Don't waste your time driving around. Stop by In Stock Parts, your industrial parts resource, or check them out online at InStockParts.com. In Stock Parts.
Who can you trust to sell your home for the most money with the least amount of drama? You need a team of agents with decades of experience, commitment, and of course, tens of thousands in marketing. I'm talking about the Limbird team. Tara Limbird Real Estate Group has sold over $1 billion in real estate. Tara's team can give you a cash offer in 72 hours, or use Tara's high-octane marketing to sell your home quite possibly for thousands over asking. Find out more at LimbirdTeam.com. LIMBIRD.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Want to jump in the conversation? Call or text 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Saw the green light was on our telephone here, and I told C-Movie that their phone was ringing. The phone is ringing. He answers the phone. He says, it's Jason in Stillwater. I know who exactly that is. The one and only Jason Carroll was called Halftime today, former sports director at Pig Trail Nation, which back in the day, of course, was Razorback Nation when he was there too, and now over at OSU Max. Jason, miss you, man. How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you guys?
Well, it's been better days. It's been a better few days, I think, for all of us in sports media in Arkansas. And although you don't live in the state anymore, I know that Bob's passing hits you about as hard as anybody else.
Well, yeah. I mean, the relationship. You hung out with us the night before Arkansas played OSU.
Yep.
And so, you build relationships over 25 years with people. And he's a dear friend, and it's tough. It's been tough since Sunday morning when you find out his situation, and you have thoughts roll through your head for multiple days. So it's difficult.
It's very difficult. I think most people that cover the Razorbacks, I don't know if they view Bob as a colleague. I think they viewed him as a friend. I really do. Just in any kind of interaction you might have had with him. And not everybody can make you feel like this. Make you feel like you are actually friends with that person. He wasn't talking past you. He was listening to the things that you were saying. And that not everybody is like that, Jason.
No, and you connect with different people different ways, right? That's why relationships are important. My grandfather was a veterinarian for over 40 years, so we all know Bob loved his cats. And so he and I connected on different levels, but that's one of them. Anytime he would have an issue, we would talk about the cats and what to do. So
that was a place where he and I met as well, man. I got some photos in our text chain of one cat from me and one from him.
Well, I started in the business when I was 17 years old. So Bob and I, I'm a young kid getting into this business, and from early on, and relationships grow over time, but from early on, he was one of the guys that befriended me, and it, over time, the growth it hits you hard because of the growth that you've had in that 25 years. And so, his impact on a lot of people is being felt today because, I was listening to Chuck this morning, and Sterling was on, right? And he talked about how people he hasn't met, Chuck, Bob, and, you connect with people differently. And for Bob, he was able to connect with Razorback fans for 43 years. Not many people can say that. And then you go even further and you talk about his connection that he was able to build throughout the Southeastern Conference. I would argue that he's probably one of the 10 most influential writers in the Southeastern Conference over the last 30 years. And so not that people are necessarily reading him, but just the impact he had in covering this league that his impact's felt, and he has friends all throughout this country and all throughout the conference based off of all the time he spent with different people. So it's a huge loss for a lot of people in a lot of different ways.
I thought Mike Irwin had a really nice, I don't know where, if you put it on anywhere other than Facebook, just something that opens the eyes of, I think, one reason why there is that regional, national respect, not just inside Razorback media or Arkansas fandom. He knew how to ask questions in a way that if he didn't get the answer the first time, he'd ask it a different way a second time, maybe the same way sometimes, but he would be dogged about it to where sometimes those press conferences would go a little bit long. Some of the media members may get a little bit annoyed about it because Bob's asking an extra question, but I'll tell you what, a lot of times they would use the quote that he got because he was getting something that was important.
And not only that, he got the answer he needed to get. Because if he would have stopped at the first one, then you wouldn't get the answer you needed. So he was always persistent about making sure he got the answer to the question. And if it took 3 times, it took 3 times. But, people in the room may not have liked it because of the fact that it went longer, but the respect factor he got from the people that he was asking the questions to is enormous, and so John Neighbors posted a video from the last press conference that Barford and Macon did at home.
Yeah, I remember that.
And so, you just look at the impact, and it's far ranging, man. It's a difficult day. So,
But I appreciate you calling in to, share your feelings and thoughts about him and some of your memories too, because I know he was a very dear friend of yours. And I think
I'm gonna miss. Yeah, I appreciate it, Phil. I'm gonna miss those long car rides that he and Tom would take, and I would call him and we talk for an hour on speakerphone, and the times getting together when I was back in town or whatever and eating and just hanging out. So, but anyway, I appreciate you letting me talk.
Jason, you're the best. Thanks for calling up. We miss you
buddy.
too. It's Jason Carroll, OSU Max right now. The last time I saw Jason, it was after Oklahoma State's comeback win over the Razorbacks. He had this kind of look on his face as if he was expecting a great season from the Cowboys. I didn't want to get into that now with him because obviously we got other things to talk about. But that was the last time that I saw Jason Carroll. And I don't think many people are smiling about Oklahoma State football right now. 877-377-6963 to get with us. Back after a quick break. We'll wrap up our first hour.
This is halftime. Champion Cycling wants to help you find the joy in cycling that's been part of their family for many years. On ESPN Arkansas, download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
It's a dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline continues to be the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, the NBA, and college basketball, NHL to UFC. Head to BetOnline today and don't forget to use the promo code BELIEVE for your welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, the game starts here.
Hey, ESPN 96.3 and hitthatline.com. Have you been to Swark Liquor? Trey Gentry and his team have a phenomenal spot. It's the first liquor stop in Arkansas for our Dallas and Texas fans traveling up to the hill. So if you're heading to Fayetteville, the lake, a cabin weekend, hunting, fishing, or any other activity you need your favorite drink, stop by Swark Liquor. And check out their apparel too. You'll want to wear it. Swark Liquor, 864 East Collin Ray Drive into Queen, Arkansas. Swark Liquor, we promise to keep them cold for you.
Hey everybody, this is Tyson Van. Dad, tell everyone about your job at Mike Jr.'s Mobile Wash.
Power washing, son. I've been working in the business for over 15 years, all over the River Valley and Northwest Arkansas, residential or commercial. At Mike Jr.'s Mobile Wash, our cleaning services include exterior home, fence, driveways, walkways, gutters, pool deck cleansing, and more.
Call my dad at 479-763-5561.
Mike Jr.'s Mobile Wash. One call cleans it all.
Weekdays 8 to 5, ffb1.com. First Financial Mortgage, in the business of you, equal housing lender.
Whether it's torque, horsepower, or just extreme work, diesel trucks do their job. But when your diesel truck needs maintenance or repair, it's time to head to Extreme Diesel. Everything from standard maintenance to extreme repairs, including injector testing. Extreme Diesel delivers. They have the tools and service for your Cummins, Duramax, or Power Stroke. You trust your truck to deliver on your needs, and you can trust your truck at Extreme Diesel. 6630 Alma Highway between Van Buren and Alma. Check them out on Facebook or give them a call at 651-3363. They're bilingual, now offering CP4 solutions for both Chevy and Ford.
Hey, is your roof leaking? Do you have hail or wind damage? Is it just looking old and worn out? If so, you need to call Hoghead Roofing, a family-owned and operated roofing company where the number one customer is you. They will give you their honest opinion on whether your roof needs replaced or repaired. They have folks that have worked on the insurance side so they can assist with all claims. Licensed, insured, and ready to serve you. Call Hoghead Roofing today at 479-522-0840. God bless.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3. Back into halftime live from the Crabtree RV Studios. Crabtree RV Center in Alma, where we make your dreams come true.
Short segment going up to the top of the hour, so let's go to the phones where we do have, who's with us here, Christian? I shut down my phone.
William in Lafayette.
William in Lafayette, thanks for calling. You're on halftime.
How y'all doing today, Joe?
I'm all right, William, thank you.
Yes, sir. I'd like to take a little time and visit about Mr. Holt and just print journalism in the state of Arkansas. I was a treasure, right? 3 of my 4 grandparents come from either southeast Arkansas or northeast Louisiana. Okay, and if you're from that area and you're from their age, you went through 2 things: the 1927 flood and the Great Depression. My grandparents, 3 of the 4, didn't go past the 4th grade. Okay, but they refused to stay uneducated, and they read the paper. They read the Democrat Gazette, or the Gazette and the Democrat at the time, but they read the paper. And that was the way they were able to advance their knowledge on how to read. And that wasn't uncommon for those people that lived in that area. And those men that wrote in that paper and women that wrote in that paper, they meant something to this state. And I have many memories of reading the paper and learning from the paper from my grandparents that was passed on to my parents and handed down to me. So it resonates with us in this state when we have those talented writers that have chosen to do that. They wrote in a manner that didn't disrespect this state, that they were able to relate to. I never got a chance to tell Bob thank you for that, or Orville Henry or the rest that came, but I can't tell you how many memories I have reading the papers and understanding that stuff from them. And I want to thank Bob and the rest of them for that. So I appreciate y'all's kind words, and I know he was a friend of y'all, but I want to let y'all know the impact he really has had on this state. Thank y'all for the time.
William, that's just a fantastic phone call, and I need a moment to let that sit in my head to feel like that about somebody you'd never met before, never got a chance to look him in the eyes, talk to him one-on-one, but obviously you can. To me, it sounds like he's somebody that had about as big of an impact on you and your family as anybody possibly could. I guess that's kind of all we can ask for, is to try to make an impact on people's lives. Because once we're off the earth, once we're gone, that's kind of what we're left with. We can't take any of the money with us. We can't take any of the toys. But we do leave impacts behind. And that's the thing I just love to hear right now from people, from Danny West, from William, from Jason Carroll, any of you out there that were impacted by Bob's work or by his friendship. 877-377-6963. We would have had Bob in about 20 minutes on this show. We had him about exactly 7 days ago. So it does leave an empty spot for us. We'll be talking with Grant Hall about Bob in about 20 minutes. Otherwise, we get right to the top of the hour after this break.
This is Coke Zero Sugar. Could I be the best Coke ever? Try and taste with your ears. Hear those bubbles? Imagine them tingling on your tongue. Fizzy deliciousness. Listen to that cascading liquid. A mouth-watering waterfall. Irresistibly tasty. Zero sugar. Crisp. Refreshing. and ice cold. Is Coke Zero Sugar the best Coke ever? Try and decide.
Top CDL Academy is a licensed Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration that provides the federal required training to obtain both Class A and Class B CDL licenses. Our program provides assistance with employment after graduation. We have finance and grant options available. Students straight out of class have started new careers earning $70,000 to $140,000 per year, and training is provided for all 50 states. Call today, 479-632-1050. COP CDL Academy.
Waldron Wave Rural Connect. Internet is now available in your area. Fast fiber internet and full-featured home phone are ready for you. This covers areas around Waldron, Bates, Winfield, Y-City, and more. Check out your address online today. The best whole home solution of internet and phone, all from a local provider you can trust. Order online at signup.waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-492-8372. Arkansas Valley Electric and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
When you need legal help, turn to the law offices of Craig L. Cook. With over 40 years combined experience, the Cook Law Team works for you. If you've been injured in an auto accident, hurt on the job, a victim of nursing home negligence, or need help with bankruptcy, Social Security, wills, trusts, estates, or family law issues, Craig Cook will go to work for you. Call us today, 479-783-8000. The law offices of Craig L. Cook with locations in Arkansas and Oklahoma. We work for working people.
Finally, football season. Papa's Pub and Pizzeria is your #1 place to watch Arkansas and Monday Night Football. During Monday Night Football, $5 refillable beer cups for only $2 refills. Prizes for each score and at the end of every single quarter. Can you believe that they've had the same great pizza since 1996? That's nearly 30 years. Papa's Pub and Pizzeria. You'll get the best darn pizza in Fort Smith, perhaps the world.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, ample sunshine. Our high this afternoon, mid-30s north, mid-40s south. Clear skies overnight will drop down into the lower 20s. We're back to sunshine on Friday, a high on Friday, right around 45, and then Saturday, mixture clouds and sunshine, highs in the low to mid-50s. I'm Sally Russell with the forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
The weather is brought to you by Come Get You Some, Arkansas's premier off-road superstore. Call 782-MUD today. You're listening to ESPN 95.3.
Good pick.
KERX Paris Fort Smith.
The drinking all day.
Coming to you live from the Crabtree RV Center studios. Broadcasting on ESPN Arkansas and streaming on hitthatline.com.
You got a team in here that doesn't respect it. Ask me if I'm all right. Why can't they dominate? And we not doing it. We're going to go get one and celebrate on somebody else's field. Yeah. Matt Jones, take it to the house.
People said you had very motivational words at halftime.
It's halftime with Phil Olsen and Matt Jones.
From the bottom of my toes to the top of my head.
The angles were so bad, we showed them at halftime.
What ain't but one Razorback?
Like, what in the world were we thinking?
It's vintage Matt Jones.
Call or text 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Olsen and Matt Jones.
12:01 on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com. Welcome back into halftime for our second hour. I'm Phil Elson. I'm with Matt Jones in our ESPN Arkansas headquarters, looking right across the table at Christian Johnston and Grant Hall joining us in about 15 minutes. We talked with Grant yesterday about Arkansas basketball and Arkansas football. Today we'll be speaking with Grant about his friend, Bob Holt, who, if you had not heard, or just tuning in today right now, passed away last night about 10:30 at night. Had a medical episode after the final press conference of the Arkansas-Missouri game at Memorial Stadium in Columbia, and was in the University of Missouri Hospital since late Saturday night and passed away last night. And a lot of lot of messages coming in from folks on social media that are from outside the state. Here is a tweet from Jeff Long. Here is one from Greg Sankey from the Southeastern Conference account, from Brett Bielema, from Danielle Musselman, from Pat Forty, from Jimmy Dykes. The list kind of goes on and on here. Here's Kendall Rogers, who was the editor at D1 Baseball, tweeting about Bob Holt. This is what we were getting into in the last hour, is that this is an impact that's not just felt by our listeners and by the readers of the Democrat Gazette and Razorback Nation overall. It is being felt all across the SEC, and it is being felt all across the nation in the college sports landscape. 877-377-6963 as we go through the show today. We will be talking basketball. We got football as well. Of course, you got the Thursday night football tonight. I'd forgotten who's going to be playing, but I did think it may be the best game of the week, actually, when you look at some of the other games that are coming on. Packers and Lions, which Packers are Bob's team. Spent time in Wisconsin as a kid, and we would have asked him about the Packers today if he would have been able to make his usual Thursday spot with us here on Halftime. I feel like I might want to be a Packers fan the rest of the
Packers
season.
are 3-0 in their last 3 games. Their last loss was to the Lions, so they're on the come. And Detroit, many people in the NFL, the talking haircuts y'all see on the TV.
Boy, am I glad I'm bald.
They have Detroit as the best team in the NFL right now. So it's two. I think Green Bay's just as they can make a playoff push. I like Jordan Love. Can they be as physical with them on a short week? 2 teams that know each other. Yeah, man, I bet it's I don't know. Detroit can beat anybody by 3 touchdowns, but I bet it's a good game.
9 straight wins coming into this game today. Of course, the portal's open. No, the portal isn't open. It actually opens on Monday. We got word yesterday Isaiah Satania is going into the portal, and so you're going to be searching for, that's your top 3 receivers that are either out of eligibility or going into the portal. I really do like Jordan Anthony. I hope Anthony stays because there's something to work with there. C.J. Brown, I think, is somebody that,
I like C.J. Brown. I know a lot
too.
of people might be upset because he had one fumble, but hey, you got to get over it. The kid's going to make up for it. I think C.J. Brown is going to be in that starting rotation next year. If it's 11, whatever personnel it is, but I'm expecting big things from him next year.
What level do you expect Satania to end up at?
He can play. He's just as good as anybody.
I mean, I liked him.
He could go to Ohio State. He could go anywhere. Satania can go anywhere in the country.
Well, I think he would have had a chance to be the number 1 receiver at Arkansas. Maybe he's got a chance.
He's a
to do
Z
that somewhere
though.
else.
He's a Z in a slot. He's not an X. So he's not an Armstrong. But you play it however you want to, whatever scheme, whatever coach. But the way we run it, he's a Z in a slot guy. But yes, he's a uber talented kid. That's the thing. Satania can go anywhere in the country. No question about it. That dude's talented.
So here's an in-state kid from Fayetteville High School. And the idea is keep your kids that are in-state in-state. He's been at Arkansas for 2 years, and he's heading somewhere else.
Didn't get the ball much. Haven't for whatever reason wasn't ever really part of a game plan. The thing that makes you a little upset as a player is whenever it's like, all right, we get you the ball. You notice they try to get him the ball like on the first or second play of a game, and then he wouldn't get the ball anymore. It's like, well, what are we really doing? And so. If you could have found a way to, and for whatever reason, he wasn't a lot in the game plan, but I think Satania's uber athletic, supremely talented. I don't know if it translates to Sunday. You got to be really, really good on Sundays, but I think he has a chance because of his athletic ability and his speed that if he gets on the right trajectory or gets in the right program, I could see. I mean, think of him playing in the slot for SMU. Playing in the slot at Miami. There's teams out there that get people like that the ball. So I feel like, man, he's going to be a good get. I think he's going to have success next year.
877-377-6963 if you want to hit on Satania or anything involved in the portal or anything else. Charlie's here. Good afternoon, Charlie. Always good to talk to you. What's up?
I appreciate that, Phil. It's a tough day. I hate calling in on days like this, but I also understand that we have to always try to face things like this head on the best that I can and deal with them the best I know how. And it hurts me, Phil, that you're hurting from this. Like I say, I didn't know Bob. And it hurts me that all of the people that knew him and were close with him and how Matt grew that relationship with him. And, the crazy thing is like you got all these coaches from other teams that, he meant a lot to them. Nobody has a bad thing to say about the guy. And I think we're all put down here on this earth, to make an impact. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter what it is. God gives us all gifts, talents, but the goal is you're supposed to, make an impact, a positive impact on people and love people and care about them. And Bob, to me, he's, like you said it yesterday, Phil, pure. I don't care if it sounds corny. That is exactly how I would describe him, and I don't even know him. So, and that's just, it's a beautiful thing, man. I'm praying for his family. I know he's up there. We'll see him again one day. He's right there. He's looking down, and I know one thing's for sure. He's going to want us to move on and, celebrate his life because it was a special one. But as far as Satanga goes, yeah, man, I'm with you. I think a team, that can use motion, get them on the run, those type of things, get them the ball in space. Obviously, he has value as a returner too. So, yeah, man, I think he can play. I think he can play anywhere. I'm excited to see where he winds up. I wonder what you guys thought, Matt. Of course, nothing has been said about this. Do you think anything happens with Haz? I am kind of worried about that because I thought at times we didn't include him enough this year. But I hope he stays because he's so talented. Wonder what you guys thought about that. And again, Phil, man, I just want you to know I love you, man, and Matt, you too, and C-Unit, and praying for all y'all, man, and praying for this state. And we're definitely going to miss Bob. He was awesome. Y'all have a good one.
Charlie, appreciate your call. Thank you.
Luke has, weren't we at this old folks home, for lack of a better term, not too long ago, when one of those silver-haired ladies was so sweet and came up to us and said, "I'm Luke Haz's grandma, and he's engaged to a cheerleader on the team." If that's the inside information that we know and that's real and he's really engaged to a cheerleader he ain't going nowhere. And the other thing is he doesn't have to go anywhere to go to the NFL. He's already going to the league. So it's like Chris Paul from last year going to Ole Miss. He wanted to win a title. You get it, and maybe he got a $300,000 raise. Can you blame people for having a $300,000 raise and going? But for his level to go to the NFL, he's going to the NFL wherever he plays his college football.
And it's after this next season. There's 1 year left for Haz.
100%.
He's going after 3 years.
It'll be health. Is he healthy enough to play? Because he was banged up. I think the last 6-7 games this year he was healthy. But if it doesn't matter what with him. You want him on your team. He's an Arkansas guy and all that stuff. But if it's true, if he really is engaged to a cheerleader up there, I don't think he's going anywhere.
Steve in Hot Springs has called us next. Hey, Steve, thanks for calling. What's going on?
Hey guys, good to hear from you. We got 2 or 3 quick points and I'll drop off. But first of all, Matt, we were in the stands at your first appearance at the Cotton Bowl way back in, what was that, 2000?
Yeah, 01 maybe, yeah.
Yep, he came in and took over from Zach Clark. It was a cold, blustery day, but I was thinking about it. Man, there was a lot of things going on in Dallas. You got Big Red was the Quincy Carter were fighting for the spot in Dallas, and a lot of things going on for the Razorbacks back then. But,
I think didn't Clint Big Red, did he throw 3 touchdown passes at MetLife against the Giants in the first half? Maybe he even threw 5. Like it was something he had just a crazy half up there and had. But yeah, I do remember him and number 17, Quincy Carter from Georgia, battling out to see who was going to be the starting quarterback. Yeah.
Well, I don't want to go negative, but I remember coming back from Dallas and Clint had 5 picks, I think, against the Giants.
Yeah, maybe. See, I'm going the wrong way too. My fault.
I'm sorry, but and then I saw you and Phil together when we stood out in the 100-degree weather to meet KJ, and then boy, how times have changed there. But I'm nobody special. I'm a local guy. I pick and choose. Sometimes I'm a freelance photographer, and I pick and choose events I like to go to. And I thought on October 12th I was going to cover the Cows appearance and the Razorbacks, and this is weird. It's like looking back now. I turned around and I was like, I say to myself, well, there's Bob Holt. And the event hadn't started yet. It was kind of 5-10 minutes late, and I go up to him and say, hey, welcome to Hot Springs, and we chat for a minute. And I said, well, I guess since you're here, we can go ahead and get this thing started. And he smiles and says, no, I don't know about all that. And he just proceeds on down to press row. That was my one and only crossing of a path with him. But it was sure cool now, especially seeing him. And looking back on my life, I've survived 3 or 4 tragedies. But no matter what you go through, there's always a silver lining. And there's no accident that happened on the campus where he graduated from. God's got it all under control. And we'll all understand it one day, but I appreciate it. I know the emotion's raw for everybody, but it's just keep your head up, and we'll all get through this together.
Steve, I appreciate your call. Thanks a lot. That's a great call. I do love hearing people's memories of Bob. I really do.
Do you think that the Oakland Athletics, that are the Vegas Athletics, are going to dissolve? I know before the show we were talking about that they owe over 140. Did you see they just signed? If you're an agent and a player and the Athletics say we want to give you a 3-year, $67 million deal, are they going to pay him if you don't play the game? Are the A's going to have a team next year?
No, they won't dissolve. They're playing at the AAA park in Sacramento, but it's what happens over I think 3 years from now. There's a significant funding gap between what they need in order to meet the actual dollar figure for rising costs for that stadium and what's actually available to them right now. And the difference, Matt, is not that much different from what the difference was in Oakland. And, of course, they chose to, give Oakland the middle finger. They're not going to dissolve. They'll play somewhere. It's just nobody knows where the A's will play in 4 years. Nobody.
I wonder what that minor league stadium in Sacramento, where the Sacramento Queens play, if it's a short porch on any side. Is it a smaller park?
It's a nice park. I've never been to a game there, but
you can put up good numbers.
Nice park. No, there's no cover in the middle. This is like Central California, the Central Valley. It's going to be 102 degrees. Not going to be the nicest place. Yeah, that's their home ballpark. That's right. And keep in mind that the Rays are playing at a minor league ballpark too because their park was destroyed.
Mother Nature
always wins. Mm-hmm. Hey, the Stadium Shop on Razorback is locally owned and operated by a family of U of A alumni. They have the largest selection of Razorback merchandise south of the North Pole. Everything you need for the Hog fan on your Christmas list. And this weekend, make sure you shop where Santa Hog shops. This Saturday and Sunday, you buy one regular price clothing item, you'll get a second of equal or lesser value, half off. Doesn't get more Razorback than the Stadium Shop. Ho, ho, hogs. We'll talk with Grant Hall in just a moment. Stay with us on Halftime.
This is Halftime.
We'd like our program to reflect our state, the great state of Arkansas. Loyal, tough, hard-working. One of our goals every year is to make the state of Arkansas proud of the football team. In my office is a sign that says you're not coming to play for the University of Arkansas, you're coming to play for the state of Arkansas.
Listen to every Razorback football game this season right here on ESPN 95.3 and hitthatline.com.
Valley Family Dental, formerly known as Riley Farm Dental, at the entrance to Riley Farms, provides every type of dental care and procedure for you and your family. Dr. Sparkman, Farmer, and now Dr. Blaine Van Nice work to give all of their patients better lives with a better smile. Valley Family Dental, now offering same-day crown service. Mention you heard this ad on ESPN Radio at your next appointment and receive a free bleaching kit or $100 off in-office accelerated whitening. Call 226-3500 for an appointment or visit valleyfamilydentalpractice.com.
Brothers Roofing and Restoration, a licensed and insured local roofing contractor in Arkansas. Since his playing days for the Hogs, Brother Alexander has been on rooftops, many years as an adjuster, and in the past decade as a roofing contractor. He knows how to help you through the insurance process while replacing your roof using only the industry's best materials. And being a lifelong Arkansan, he'll be here to stand behind his workmanship and warranty. Call 479-353-3877 to arrange a time for Brother and his team to inspect your roof.
Christmas shopping is easy at Jelco Outdoors with so many great gift ideas for those on your shopping list. Save 25% off all Yeti and Yukon Outfitter ice chests, coolers, tumblers, and cups. A large selection of the footwear and clothing for work to the woods, archery, hunting, and fishing gear for those that enjoy the great outdoors. If in doubt, a Jelco gift card is always a perfect fit. Jelco Outdoors, your one-stop Christmas shopping destination store. Shop local. Shop Jelco Outdoors in Fort Smith. And Merry Christmas from Jelco Outdoors.
This is Bruce Stanton, Vice President and General Manager of Pradco Fishing in Fort Smith. Our #1 volume lure out of our 20 fishing brands is the Bobby Garland Baby Shad. We make them by the millions in our facility in Fort Smith, and the Baby Shad is without a doubt the #1 soft plastic crappie lure in the U.S. Fish it on a light jig head or underneath a float, and you'll find it's as productive as live bait. Available at Walmart, Bass Pro Shops, Academy, LureNet.com, and tackle stores all over the place. The Bobby Garland Baby Shad.
Waldron Wave Rural Connects. Internet is now available in your area. Fast fiber internet and full-featured home phone are ready for you. This covers areas around Waldron, Bates, Winfield, Y-City, and more. Check out your address online today. The best whole home solution of internet and phone, all from a local provider you can trust. Order online at signup.waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-492-8372. Arkansas Valley Electric and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
The Newmeyer family is a mainstay in Fort Smith, and their newest restaurant, the Whippoorwill, has so much to offer. Friday night catfish, good. Tuesday nights, kids 10 and under eat free with an adult meal purchase. Don't forget about Whippoorwill for every Hogs game with their massive projection screen. For catering options, call 479-769-2095. Newmeyer's Whippoorwill Restaurant, now a part of the Newmeyer family.
Catch your wife kissing Santa Claus, whose real name is Bobby from down the street? Want to know your rights in a divorce, custody, child support case? I'm Jackie Mock with Mock Legal Solutions. Call me today to discuss your options. Start the new year off with a new lease on life for you, and let Santa have her. Mock Legal Solutions, 479-769-1505. Real advice, reasonable price.
Should start with Bob.
It's time to talk with a unique individual.
You said you and Diva are OGs, old guys? Brett, you spoke so positively recently. I mean, did you expect this to happen?
He's a man of mystery.
Why do you always talk about Arkansas? But go ahead.
Well, why do you always talk about Kentucky? Hey, it's Bob again. I think I'm unmuted now. I figured it out. Man, you win the lottery 3 times, get to go to Starkville.
A man whose incisive questions and rapier wit.
Hey, John, but I had a 2-parter if that's okay. What did you mean? I'm sorry. I'm not that good. Man, we got to get the Packers straightened out. Losing to the Jets, that ain't in Lambeau, that ain't good.
That placed him on the Mount Rushmore of Arkansas sports writers.
What do you think about this?
Yeah, Bob. Future in that, yeah.
Here he is, the one and only Bob Holt.
Hey, guys.
Boy, it hurts today, but it does make me smile to hear his voice. This would be Bob Holt's segment. He did it with us every Thursday for going on since September of 2018. So I couldn't let this go by without at least playing that one last time. And you hear just a couple of the moments that always stood out, I think, to me and some of our listeners and Bob's readers of what made him the truly unique personality that he was. And so we have his good friend Grant Hall, who, of course, comes on with us on Wednesdays on Halftime to talk about Bob, too. Grant, we didn't bring it up yesterday. I didn't really know how to formulate the conversation about it. Today I feel like we can. So I was grateful that you called and asked for some time because I feel like, you deserve that time to talk publicly about your friend that you knew for so long.
Well, I didn't even think about the fact that, I'm so honored just to even be on at this time. This was Bob's time, and we all loved him, and you can just hear through those things you just played, the love coming through the radio. I mean, he was such a cheery presence, and it's like he never had a bad day. I think I saw him mad one time in 43 years. I believe he started in 1981, guys, and during that time, I mean, it's just amazing all the things you can pack into that amount of time. I mean, Bob was 65, but I don't think he would say he was shortchanged in life at all, given all the experiences he got to have, the people he got to meet. I don't know if anyone's talked about this too much, but Bob was a great impersonation guy, impressionist. He could do Frank Broyles better than Frank could do himself. He could do Lou Holtz. He could do Eddie Sutton. And I was talking to Mike Irwin today about this kind of the infamous party we had in 1985, coinciding with when Eddie was leaving Arkansas pretty much. And Eddie and Patsy were there, the late Eddie and Patsy Sutton. And at some point, I'd forgotten about this, but Mike said, he said, Eddie said to Bob, I hear you do a great impression of me. Let's hear it. And, Bob was modest about it. He probably could have been a comedy club guy if he'd wanted to. But he then proceeded to do this impersonation of Eddie. And Patsy, Mike reminded me that Patsy was just on the floor laughing about this, that how perfect an impersonation it was. And, we'll miss all that. We'll miss just things. Speaking of Eddie, when the time came that it looked like he was going to be leaving Arkansas, back then you didn't have internet. You didn't really have. You had your shoe leather and however you could get stories. And so Bob and I were both chasing to see what was going to happen, and we were both over there and outside Barnhill Arena. And I just happened to be in the car, and we saw Eddie leaving. And so Bob is like, follow that car. It's like something out of an old movie, like you'd see. And so we went and kind of followed him around different places through campus and finally got him back and talked to him a little bit. But there are just so many things that obviously are different today, just in terms of coverage and journalism and how it used to be. And I know people don't necessarily want to hear how great it was all those years ago, but I think Mike and I were talking about how fortunate we were to work when we did, in terms of having such great access. And a lot of times you could just go into a coach's office and talk to them. You could talk to any player you wanted to after practice. Didn't have to get, go through to get permitted. You just could just do it. And Eddie, a lot of times would come and he'd sit down there with Bob and me or Mike or whoever it was, Nate Allen, and he'd sit there during practice and talk about what they're trying to do to get ready for the next team and so forth. So Bob transitioned through all of that period of time to how it is now. You have mostly press conferences and Zoom, and you don't get that much one-on-one time anymore. But I could talk all day about stories, and I think we've all been sort of preparing ourselves for this since about Sunday, and we have told a lot of stories this week. But one of those was, I remember one time Mike Anderson was doing a press conference, and Bob, in his inimitable way, kept asking a question, and he wasn't kind of getting the answer he wanted. And finally, Mike said, Bob, why don't you just tell me what you want me to say? But he could do that, and a lot of times the 10th, 11th, and 12th question, when we talked about some guys were maybe ready after 2 or 3 questions to go to something else, but those same guys that might do an eye roll would have that in their lead the next day, the quote that Bob got by his persistent questioning. And there aren't enough people, in my opinion, asking tough questions these days. And it's harder to do it too. And maybe a lot of people are intimidated with 35 people around. Mike was talking about how it used to be 4, 5, 6 of us, and that was it. And so I remember one time in an NCAA tournament, there was a guy named his name was Paris McCurdy, and he had played for UALR as they were, back then, and he had transferred to this other team that Arkansas was about to play. And so in the NCAA tournament, you'd bring these guys out for 5 or 10 minutes, and they'd talk, and that would be it. Well, Bob needed more, and so he walked out with the guy and ended up walking across the street, walked to the guy's hotel. They're talking all this time, probably 15, 20 minutes. And finally, Paris McCurdy said, man, I just can't talk anymore, But that's how he did it, and he was persistent. He was thorough. I've listened to the entire program today, and the love that's what it is, man. It's love coming through the radio, and we're going to miss this guy.
I think an organization that you're intimately involved with, Grant, the Arkansas Sports Writers and Sportscasters Hall of Fame, Bob had a chance. He was inducted, and so I know Nolan was the one who presented him. He did have an opportunity at that point to have people tell him what they meant, what he meant to them in terms of professional, and I'm sure in terms of being a friend and everything, they always do that. The thing that's really hitting me right now is the national response from the conference, from Sankey, from writers that have nothing to do with the University of Arkansas, other than the idea that maybe the Razorbacks play the team that they cover sometimes. And I remember an article that Michael Casagrande wrote a few years ago at SEC Media Days about Bob Holt being the real star of the media days. And he was just the most unassuming person that you could ever meet. You wouldn't think this is the guy everybody wants to hear from. But it's the same idea as the younger reporters when they would see Bob in the press box. I'm seeing them write about this now. Starstruck from the most unassuming person you would ever meet. You can't write a character like that.
Yeah, that's right. And we keep hearing the word genuine, which is so appropriate. And I tell you, I remember the first press conference, and I say that advisedly because back then, after football practice, 3 or 4 or 5 of us, you didn't even really have television for a long time. I remember one time Orville Henry said to a TV guy, "So you're just filming a press conference, But that evolved. Obviously, those guys do a great job. But anyway, that was the first time that I've been around Bob Holt, and we asked our questions, and then Bob, who I really didn't even know yet, said, "What about McCraney?" And there was, if I remember the name correct, there was this kid from the Little Rock area who had been highly publicized, but who had not panned out. And I don't think Lou was expecting the question, and I think he referred it to Lon Farrell at the time or something. And I remember thinking, man, this guy went right for the jugular on the first press opportunity he ever had here. He's going to be a formidable competitor. But, of course, we never really looked at it that way because he's just such a great guy and a great friend. And he was very generous. We'll hear stories about favors he would do. I mean, I know the newspaper guys, they used to mow each other's yards and stuff, and he lived with a guy named Mike Burrows one time, and we used to call it the odd couple because Burrows would joke about how Bob had paper strewn all over the house, and I loved your story, Phil, about his poring over those notes in the baseball press box that day, and that he's the one guy that would do that.
Yeah. I guess that's probably the right way, the right place to leave it, Grant. Although the one thing that I do that this hits me here today, and I know we've had a few days to prepare, and that's different from the person I'll compare this to. But today kind of reminds me of the day after Paul Eels died, and just in the response, and that's the focus across the state. Really, in terms of sports, Bob is the focus today, and the journalists never are.
And I'll tell you, just in leaving, guys, Frank DeFord, the late, great Frank DeFord, once wrote a play about Nolan Richardson in Sports Illustrated. And I found out later that he had borrowed liberally from a lot of things Bob had written. And I asked Bob about it one time, and he had so little ego that he didn't want anything made of it. I mean, there were probably journalists who would have cited plagiarism or something, And obviously, Sports Illustrated had all kinds of sources they could use. But I mean, that's the reach that he had. That his stuff was so good that the Sports Illustrated writer was basically borrowing from it.
Grant, thanks again for coming on. I'll see you tonight at Bud Walton. Okay.
Thank you. We'll see you. Bye-bye.
We got Arkansas versus Boston College women's basketball in the SEC ACC Challenge. Let's talk to Cecil before we go to the break. Cecil, appreciate you holding there. Cecil, what's going on? How are you?
I never mind holding on. I listen to y'all every day, every day, all year, all month. I tell y'all, hey, he mentioned Paris McCurdy. I remember him. He was like 6'7". I think he was from Chicago. He was pretty good. I really followed you back then. But I want to shout out all my condolences to the Hope family. And it was a question I wanted to ask you and Matt. Now, I know Singleton's in the portal. I really like the Singleton. But he just it was like in a lose-lose situation before it's getting on the field. Being a Razorback is a great thing, but everybody want to play. I didn't see much of him, but what I did see, I liked it. So that's all I can say about that. And I want to know if before Singleton entered the portal, we getting this quarterback from UCLA. Is that correct?
Well, he didn't. He was committed to UCLA. He just didn't sign there. It's a flip. Yes.
Okay, but we do have that quarterback now.
Yeah, Madden.
Yes, sir.
Liama.
Okay. So was it before or after Singleton jumped in there?
Well, I mean, if it's a matter of a conversation,
I don't know. I'm asking.
I don't know either. Danny West said he thought that it came as a surprise to the coaching staff. So
Right.
these things have to go together, don't they? I mean, I don't think you're going to bring it in two quarterbacks if you're going to have three of them that are sticking around. So you end up with two of them sticking around, and you bring in two freshman quarterbacks. That's
Right. I understand that. But being a quarterback or being any other position that they get somebody else, your thoughts are running real wild about, hey, do I jump in? And that's a good thing for the players, man. That gives everybody a chance to play if you go up or down in the league. So it gives them a good chance to play the game. And I wish the guy big success and hope to see him on Sunday sometime.
Thank you, Cecil.
And I'm gonna hang up, y'all.
You got it. No, you got it. I heard you say you're gonna hang up. I was gonna say thank you.
Yeah, I'm about to print this picture that we took last year. That's a really nice picture. I'm about to print it. I just saved it and I emailed it back to my computer, so I'm about to print it. But y'all have a blessed day, y'all.
You too. Thanks a lot. Matt, you know that they had conversations Monday with whomever they needed to have conversations with. If I were to try to put myself in Malachi Singleton's mindset, the knowledge, or at least the idea, Taylor Green is coming back. Didn't beat him out last year in the spring. I don't know if he was really, if that was really a possibility to begin with. All expectations point to Green being your starter again next year. I think Malachi's looking for a place where he's not backing up. And he would have been backing up at Arkansas again.
Yeah, it had been one more year. He's ready to go. I mean, he's ready to go lead an organization, lead a team. So I think he'll be starting somewhere next year. I think Satania will be starting somewhere next year as well.
Don't forget about the Pick 6 at Andy's Frozen Custard. When you're looking for something sweet and delicious, mix and match 6 of your favorite flavors. It is the perfect game time treat. Andy's Frozen Custards and Fort Smith, Rogers Avenue. They got locations in Conway on East Oak Street and Dave Ward Drive, and in North Little Rock on JFK Boulevard. Andy's Frozen Custard, walk-up or drive-through. They're ready to serve you. We're ready for you on halftime. Calls and texts come in at 877-377-6963. More in just a couple of minutes.
This is the worst looking hat I ever saw. Well, you buy a hat like this, I'll bet you get a free bowl of soup, huh? Oh, it looks good on you, though.
This is halftime. You can now download our new app in the iTunes or Google Play Store. Listen anytime and anywhere on your favorite mobile device. Just search Hit That Line now.
At Skechers, we put the S in comfort.
Wait. Skechers put the S in comfort?
Yes, comfort you have to feel to believe. Skechers, we put the S in comfort.
You sure? Because I won a spelling bee in the 5th grade, and I don't think there's an S in comfort.
Yes, Skechers, we put the S in comfort. Like our hands-free Skechers slip-ins. Footwear that's completely touchless. You just step in and go. There's no bending down and no tying your shoes. And they have Skechers Air Cool Memory Foam for incredible comfort. Because at Skechers, we put the S in comfort.
Okay, well, I've got some Skechers slip-ins. Here, let me try. Okay, I'm just stepping in and... Oh, wow. Skechers put the S in comfort.
Duh, we told you.
See for yourself how Skechers put the S in comfort. Find Skechers slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
This is halftime.
All right, let's break someone's clavicle on 3. 1, 2, 3. Break someone's clavicle. Hit the field. Let's go. Move it. Move it.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Harry Robinson Salisol Ford wants to buy or trade for your vehicle today, and they will give you top dollar. Pre-owned car values are at historic all-time highs, and your car today is worth more than it ever will be again. If you are driving a 2013 model or newer with 120,000 miles or less, bring it to Harry Robinson Salisol Ford, and they'll give you more than any other dealer. Even if you don't want to buy a new car, they'll still buy yours. Harry Robinson Salisol Ford, 1 mile south of exit 308 off I-40 in Salisol.
This is Daryl Johnston with Hashtag Managed IT Services. We are excited to now be part of AAA Business Systems. Hashtag will continue to handle every IT need your business will have, and now, as part of AAA Business Systems, we can handle all of your document printing and storage solutions. Together, we have the expertise to meet all of your office technology needs. Find us online at aaabm.com or call us at 471-1771.
Hey, it's Ty Richardson. We're live at Rainwater's Men's Clothing and Tuxedo Rental, 9700 Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith. You guys have really affordable suit and tuxedo rentals that I think people need to consider.
Mercy Ball and holiday events that a lot of guys need tuxedos to rent. So come to Rainwater's, you get to try it on immediately, and you know that it fits, and we'll take care of you.
When you stop by, make sure to tell Gail and his staff that Ty sent you.
Rainwater's Men's Clothing and Tuxedo Rental, because it's fun to look good.
Sometimes I'm in a hurry. Stay in the slow lane, buddy. That's when I use the Sodies app to order my favorites and pick up in their drive-thru. They even offer a 10% discount on your first app order. Experience different at Sodies Wine and Spirits off I-540 on Phoenix Avenue.
Every day is worth celebrating at Uncorked. Cocktails, wine, craft beer, bourbons, and unbelievably great food. Uncorked on Phoenix Avenue next to Sodies.
Arkansas Fuel Injection in Fort Smith has been providing quality work for all new and rebuilt diesel pumps and injectors for over 25 years. They are a certified diesel shop with a team of quality technicians that ensure the highest quality workmanship and warranties all their work. They are open Monday through Friday 8 to 5 and has emergency service available 24 hours a day. For all your diesel pump, fuel injection, and parts needs, stop by Arkansas Fuel Injection, 6300 South 29th Street, Fort Smith. Call them today at 1-800-817-7709. Arkansas Fuel Injection.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Getting to the point where I am sorry. Sometimes it hurts so badly I must cry out. I am lonely. I am yours. You are what you are. You make it hard. Remember what we've said and done. Felt about each other. Please have mercy. Don't let the past remind us we are. I am not leaving.
Make sure to follow Halftime on Twitter at HitThatLineAR and on Facebook and Instagram at HitThatLine. Call or text 877-377-6963. Now back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Well, this might go hand in hand with Madden Iamaleava. I'm going to have to practice this name over and over and over again.
You got 2 years before he's taking a meeting. You're good. You got a couple years before you're going to come in and play.
Part of the thing is that the Arkansas plays at Tennessee next year, too. So you have to say his brother's name. I got to say his brother's name at least a few times whenever that game is played next year.
I want them to play against each other. I hope he is playing.
Iamaleava. That's it. That's how you say it. I know how to say it at least one time properly. Second, third, fourth, fifth time, not so much. But UCLA fired Eric Bieniemy as the offensive coordinator there after 1 year, and the word comes out the day after Iamaleava flips to Arkansas. I don't know if these things go together, but you would like to know who it is you're going to be playing for, right? Does this also lead you to believe that Bobby Petrino ain't going anywhere? You're bringing two quarterbacks in your signing class?
Was he the coordinator when the Chiefs won the first of this three-peat they're trying to get?
I think so.
And then what goes to the Redskins, and then there wasn't a fan, and then they said he was too intense, and then now he just went to UC. What a weird, long, strange road he's been on right there. That's
he
wild.
was on everybody's the front of your lips when talking about open head coaching jobs in the NFL. When is Bieniemy getting the chance? When is he going to get the chance and everything? Did he actually go to the Commanders for a year after the Chiefs? But I know he was the OC for at least one of those Super Bowls. Absolutely. Yeah. How about that? Going to UCLA 1 year and then in and out. Not so good.
The Pac-12, Big Ten, yeah, they Chip Kelly left, and then UCLA, they're just stability. That's what I think of when I think of UCLA.
Yeah, right. UCLA crumbled. USC, they started crumbling even in Caleb
Their quarterback
Williams last
left.
year. Yeah.
Their quarterback just left.
Washington, just, nowhere near the level the year before. Oregon, undefeated.
Washington State did pretty good this year.
In their League of Two and the Mountain West.
Wazoo.
Yeah, they were basically in a Mountain West.
Sounds like a Mario Brothers go-kart character. Wazoo.
Or a sound that you can make if you've eaten too much barbecue.
He's got a heavy foot.
Well, I think Bieniemy is going to have the heavy foot getting out of Los Angeles. Joined Deshaun Foster's staff. Yeah, he was with the Commanders last season, and then the Chiefs. 2 Super Bowls with the Chiefs.
Wild.
Someone will hire him again. I don't know where, but someone will. Petrino's going to stay here now. That's my thought. You're bringing 2 quarterbacks. I'm assuming he had quite a bit to do with at least Grayson Wilson's recruitment over the last year. And to me, I know that you're still very early in the coaching carousel, and Petrino was interviewed for Charlotte, but he took his name out of that. And now it's he had someone call up the other day. Hey, Petrino's looking for this job, and T. Wells looking for that job, and the head coach is under the knife. Who is recruiting? Well, they're all recruiting. I think Petrino's been doing some recruiting. I start thinking he's not going anywhere, and that you may actually get the continuity you're hoping for.
I wouldn't worry about it when we go 5-6. I'd worry about it if we go 9-3. A 5-6 team that finished 11th in the SEC. I'm not saying there's not people looking at your coordinators, but it's not like we just made the playoff 12 or something. There's a lot of good coaches out there. I think both these coaches they're here. We got our staff. I don't think there's going to be I think the OC and DC are going to be at Arkansas next year.
Well, it would be nice. And
maybe we get a winning record next year.
And I like you're officially going with 5-6 now too, aren't you?
What were we 4-8 last year, 5-6 this year? What has the coordinators done to?
If they were 5-6 this year, they would be 3-8 the year before.
Oh, it keeps getting worse.
It was Western Carolina last year.
Hey, do we have an F? Do we have an understudy? Do we have a stand-in type team that we're going to play this year?
Play one every year.
Oh, you're not counting the UAPB win?
Alabama A&M next.
That's who we get, the Aggies of Alabama. Are they the Rattlers?
I think that's Florida A&M.
Yeah, man, we're
Yeah, you went in the direction that I always think. If there's an A&M in your school's name, 75% chance you're the Aggies.
Are the Miners? Yeah.
Yeah, it's Alabama A&M next year. They're playing. I think that's in Fayetteville. That's got to be in Fayetteville because you're playing A-State.
That's their money game. You got to give them $250,000 to come up here and take an L.
But it won't count in your eyes. It does count for the bowl game. Though,
it's just put the L in front of the A&M. It's the Alabama Lambs. They're coming up for the slaughter.
The Lambs.
The Alabama Lambs.
Now, if we could only do the same thing with the Texas Lambs. With Texas A&M. If you could do the same thing with them, that'd be wonderful.
But the Missouri Lambs and the Texas A&M Lambs, we haven't had too much success against those two.
Well, at least you get the Texas Lambs in Fayetteville next year.
Man, but then we get to go to Austin, though. That's going to be
Austin, Baton Rouge, Oxford, and Knoxville. Just the easiest road. Could you imagine anything more difficult than that? Than those 4 places. Might as well throw Athens in there just to.
Who was the coach last year? The Florida Gators that was on Napier.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of that's their schedule. They had the number 1 hardest schedule in the country,
and they made it through.
And he survived because they found the right quarterback. I think going in next year, when you look at that, Tennessee's going to have a good quarterback. Baton Rouge, they'll probably have it, but I like our quarterback. I like our Ole Miss is going to have a new quarterback. So going forward, next year when you're talking about Taylor Green being a returning starter, another year in this offense, I like it. I think Taylor Green's he's gonna shine next year.
And I think next year maybe one of those 1 or 2 score games will fall our way.
Well, we get back to the offensive line can't be so detrimental where it's just clearly the worst unit. Like we couldn't pass. What was the stat there? Like we lead the conference in sacks allowed. Like we just 5 years in a row. You can't keep doing. I mean, that's not a recipe for winning.
It did feel like for every 2 steps forward, there was a step backwards in terms of fumbles, in terms of turnovers,
fumbles. Oh my goodness,
sacks, tackles for loss. That's got to change next year. Yeah, cut the fumbles in half. That'd be nice. 14, much better. That's about 1 per game instead of over 2 per game. 877-377-6963. Don't forget about Crabtree RV Center in Alma, the dealership you want to get to when you've got adventures in your mind for the family. They've got a perfect RV on lot right there at the junction of I-40 and I-49 beside the Cracker Barrel. Online as well at crabtreerv.com. Got everything you need on site. The service and parts department, they're going to take care of you at Crabtree RV. Back to wrap up our second hour of halftime after this break.
Got a 911 with a quadraphonic blow pop. Don't need a quadraphonic blow pop. What you need is a curveball.
This is halftime.
Waldron Wave Rural Connect. Internet is now available in your area. Fast fiber internet.
On ESPN Arkansas, download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
It's a dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline continues to be the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, the NBA, and college basketball, NHL to UFC. Head to BetOnline today and don't forget to use the promo code BELIEVE for your welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, the game starts here. Hey, ESPN 96.3 and hitthatline.com. Have you been to Swark Liquor? Trey Gentry and his team have a phenomenal spot. It's the first liquor stop in Arkansas for our Dallas and Texas fans traveling up to the hill. So if you're heading to Fayetteville, the lake, a cabin weekend, hunting, fishing, or any other activity you need your favorite drink, stop by Swark Liquor. And check out their apparel too. You'll want to wear it. Swark Liquor, 864 East Collin Ray Drive into Queen, Arkansas. Swark Liquor, we promise to keep them cold for you.
Hey everybody, this is Tyson Van. Dad, tell everyone about your job at Mike Jr.'s Mobile Wash.
Power washing, son. I've been working in the business for over 15 years, all over the River Valley and Northwest Arkansas, residential or commercial. At Mike Jr.'s Mobile Wash, our cleaning services include exterior home, fence, driveways, walkways, gutters, pool deck cleansing, and more.
Call my dad at 479-763-5561.
Mike Jr.'s Mobile Wash. One call, cleans it all.
Shamrock Liquor Warehouse at the corner of Midland and Riverfront Drive in Fort Smith.
You can call the Hogs with Razorback women's basketball this Sunday afternoon at 2 versus SEMO inside Bud Walton Arena. Be there and be loud for our Junior Razorback Kids Takeover Day, which includes free admission for all kids 17 and under, in-game experiences, post-game autographs, and more. Adult tickets are only $10 at ArkansasRazorbacks.com. We'll see you Sunday afternoon for tip-off at 2 p.m. at Bud Walton Arena.
Precision Garage Door features the finest quality materials, installation, and service for all your garage door needs, including garage door repair and new garage doors and openers. Fully licensed and insured with the largest showroom in Northwest Arkansas at 1907 Town West Drive in Rogers and in Fort Smith at 416 North 10th Street. Call Precision Garage Door today at 844-PDS-DOOR or check them out online at PrecisionDoorNWA.com. Financing is available. Precision Garage Door, voted Best Garage Door Company of Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3. Welcome back into Halftime Live from the Crabtree RV Studios. Crabtree RV Center in Alma, where we make your dreams come true.
So if you're Jaquindon Jackson, what do? You got a year of eligibility. He redshirted a year at Utah. Redshirted the first year at Texas, which would have been 2020, so that gives him the extra year. I wonder if you think about coming back, a chance to run it back a little bit.
What do you get? So if you're not a top 100 pick, running back, you're going to get $300,000, $200,000 sign-in bonus. So you're going to make probably $750 as a fourth round pick. Right there. If you start adding, man, but now you're closer to your retirement. You got to make it 4 years for retirement. That's the one thing you go for. But I think running backs have more value to a quarterback and are more valuable in a college game. Not that they're not valuable in the NFL. They are. Quarterbacks are supposed to be better. It's just it's a security blanket when you have him. And I think Jaquindon Jackson is a top 4 running back in the SEC. I didn't see 4 running backs better than Jaquindon Jackson this year. Now, I didn't see every team play. I saw who Arkansas played, but I didn't see 4 running backs better than him. $800,000, $600,000. How much do you pay for him? Because he kind of banged up a little bit too. How many games you going to get out of him? It's not a pay for play. What do what are you thinking? What is the price? Because do you give it more to Byron Russell? Do you give it to Byron Russell? I just made him the Utah Jazz shooting guard, didn't I?
You just got crossed over by MJ.
Yeah, for 2. And So and then you got DeBinion as well. So how do you divvy that up?
Well, and I mean, look, I think I want Braylon Russell to stick around here. I liked what I've seen from Dubinion. The fact that Jackson got into the end zone 13 times this year,
tough, man,
and how difficult it was for Arkansas to get into the end zone sometimes. That to me means something.
He's our most complete running back. I think we worked him too hard those first 3 games of the year, first whatever. And then he just you got to understand the war of attrition, how long the season is. And if that running back from Texas A&M, Moss, that big freaker that nobody wanted to tackle, if he can get hurt and be that they can all, it's a collision sports for running backs, and you just don't know how long they're going to last.
You're going to have to rebuild the wide receiver position completely. I mean, from the ground up, you're rebuilding the wide receiver position. I think outside of Jordan Anthony, that's like the one guy that'll come back that gave you some production. Tight end, we already got through tight end. I think you're going to get Has back, but who knows? Running backs feels like that's the position where you could have the most continuity outside of offensive line. And now that you're getting Carmona back, the rest of that crew, the next guy you want to hear from, at least in terms of eligibility, is Braun. But these days, Matt, everybody's got to make some kind of a social media announcement to run it back, and then they're going to play for you again.
I'd like for us to be a 60%, 40% far as run pass in conference play, which I think we're the other way around, but we're better at running, have more of a stable of running backs. You would like to see us be a 60-40 type of team.
Third hour of halftime coming up, 877-377-6963. We'll talk with Brett Dolan in 20 minutes. Stay with us today.
At AOG, our main goal is to deliver reliable energy to your home safely. And keeping our team members, customers, and community safe starts with awareness. Natural gas has a distinctive, strong odor, often compared to rotten eggs or sulfur. If you smell gas, leave your home immediately. Go to a safe location and call 911 in addition to AOG. Remember, if you smell gas, act fast. And always call 811 before you dig. To learn more about natural gas safety, visit AOGC.com. AOG, energy for life.
When you need legal help, turn to the law offices of Craig L. Cook. With over 40 years combined experience, the Cook Law Team works for you. If you've been injured in an auto accident, hurt on the job, a victim of nursing home negligence, or need help with bankruptcy, Social Security, wills, trusts, estates, or family law issues, Craig Cook will go to work for you. Call us today, 479-783-8000. The law offices of Craig L. Cook with locations in Arkansas and Oklahoma. We work for working people.
Who can you trust to sell your home for the most money with the least amount of drama? You need a team of agents with decades of experience, commitment, and of course, tens of thousands in marketing. I'm talking about the Limbird team. Tara Limbird Real Estate Group has sold over $1 billion in real estate. Tara's team can give you a cash offer in 72 hours or use Tara's high-octane marketing to sell your home quite possibly for thousands over asking. Find out more at limbirdteam.com. LIMBIRD.
Looking for a healthcare provider that truly listens to you? At Elite Wellness and Aesthetics, their team of nurse practitioners offer personalized healthcare with their in-house labs. Get fast results. Elite Wellness goes beyond just treating symptoms. Their holistic approach addresses the root causes of your well-being. Whether it's preventative care, illness, or exploring natural treatments, your health journey begins with Elite Wellness and Aesthetics. Call 479-242-9355 for your appointment or visit FortSmithElite.com. Elite Wellness and Aesthetics, getting to know you inside and out.
Your home is your biggest asset. So when you decide to add a sunroom, a patio cover, a new driveway, or new windows, you need to call a company you can trust. Sawyers has been part of your community for over 30 years. They're insured, licensed, and have 100% financing for all of their products. Take all the worry out of your next project. Call Sawyers and let them handle it from permitting to completion. Sawyers, serving the River Valley and Northwest Arkansas with a full showroom located in Fort Smith or online at sawyers-sunrooms.com.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, ample sunshine. Our high this afternoon, mid-30s north, mid-40s south. Clear skies overnight will drop down into the lower 20s. We're back to sunshine on Friday, a high on Friday, right around 45. And then Saturday, mixture clouds and sunshine, highs in the low to mid-50s. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
The weather is brought to you by Come Get You Some, Arkansas's premier off-road superstore. Call 782-MUD today. KERX Paris Fort Smith. This is Halftime, coming at you from the Crabtree RV Studios on ESPN 95.3. Coming to you live from the Crabtree RV Center Studios. Broadcasting on ESPN Arkansas and streaming on hitthatline.com.
Good one tonight. You got to take him in here. That's perspective. Ask me if I'm all right. Why can't they dominate? And we not doing it.
We're going to go get one and celebrate on somebody else's field.
Yeah. Judge, man, take it to the house. And the dunk.
You both said you had very motivational words at halftime.
It's Halftime with Phil Olsen and Matt Jones.
From the bottom of my toes to the top of my head. What's my heart, dog? Let's go, man.
The angles were so bad, we showed them at halftime.
What they for one Razorback?
Like, what in the world were we thinking?
It's vintage Matt Jones. One, two, three.
Call or text 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Olsen and Matt Jones.
And moving into our third hour, 1 minute after 1 o'clock on ESPN Arkansas, hitthatline.com. Phil Elson with Matt Jones. Colton Little, C45, has moved into the producer's chair today. And, Matt, I had to remind him the show was about to resume. He was over there in his little production closet. I don't think he knew what time it was, but it's pretty rare that I've got to be the caffeine for C45 here because the C means caffeine. And I got him to jump out of the chair. Thank goodness.
He's a hard worker. Every time I come in the kitchen, he's in the kitchen, eating up all the food, all the hog moss, all the pig's feet. You know, I like hog moss. I like pig's feet.
Somebody's got to cook around here.
That's
it's
right.
Gonna be me. All right. But no, I was just trying my best to feverishly work on the things that need to be done today, Phil. I apologize for scaring you.
He ain't got no game.
Now that's gay, right?
You know,
Don't nobody go in the bathroom for about 35, 45 minutes. Hey, somebody open a window around here.
Now, that's something legitimately that is said here on a daily basis in these headquarters. Let's be honest about that. Just down the hall here, okay? I'm not here every day, but when I am, I know what's going on. You know, one of my favorite things when I'm actually in studio with you guys? This weapon right here, this staple gun, for some reason, is always out. And not just the staple gun, but the ammunition to go with it is out too.
I wish you wouldn't point it at me.
Hacksaw Jim Duggett left that here when he was going through his WCW tour about 27 years ago, and it stayed in the same spot for 27 years until Phil Elson came in.
I literally just shot 3 of these things across the. If Ty Richardson was standing in that doorway, he would have needed major eye surgery.
That's good aim right there.
Yep, I'm really good, but I'm lethal with this stuff.
Safety goggles on before you use heavy machinery.
This must have been the stuff that was used to actually staple the soundproofing on the walls.
You see your boy Mickey Rourke in the movie The Wrestler, where they're stapling it on the yeah.
Matt,
yeah.
I learned years ago when I did Traveler Games, and we did midget wrestling about 2 or 3 times a year,
Nice.
three-game midget wrestling. Don't yell at me. That was what the wrestlers called it.
I would have paid.
That's what it was marketed at. You would have left after the wrestling match before the baseball game, 45.
Set a big bullseye up and strap him in Velcro and then toss him across the ring. Oh, my goodness.
They want to be tossed. They want to be
right.
They want to be tossed.
Dude, we had some real special, those were really special events. Beautiful Bobby and Little Cato, brothers, would wrestle together, and every once in a while it would be a little person with a full-size woman that was wrestling, a tag team. It was kind of amazing stuff.
2-on-1, those two would take on her.
No. It was a little man and a full-size woman against a little man and a full-size woman.
Oh, that's a true tag team. I like that. That's cool.
Yeah. This was really just like 20 years ago, too. It was definitely within my lifetime because I got to actually broadcast these events, too. My boss would force me to do it. But I only get into this because one year they brought an extra one with them, an extra little person, a great wrestler. His name was Puppet the Psycho Dwarf. That was his name. That's what he marketed himself as. Don't yell at me. And I interviewed him, and he's telling me about the staple gun matches that he had done the week before. And it was one of those come again moments. What detail this for me, please. And it was basically, they did a television show before. I think it was called Half Pint Brawlers. I don't remember what network it was on, but you can figure it out yourself.
They would jump out of little milk cartons.
Matt, they would have wrestling matches at just random bars anywhere. They wouldn't even put in a squared circle. They would just wrestle on the floor, jumping off the bar.
That's like Josh Heupel has his Tennessee Volunteers. He said, wherever. Why do we worry? We'll play you wherever.
But now every time I come into the studio and the staple gun you're right. It's in the exact same place every time I come in here. Nobody has even looked at this staple gun. And people here, you know this too. People in this building are very protective of their staplers to the point where there's still one in the room that you sit in before the show, Matt, that says Ruskin on it.
It's labeled.
Derek hasn't worked in this building for years, but he obviously felt his stapler was threatened to the point where, he was going to burn this place down, just like Milton.
Yes.
So now we have a staple gun. This thing can do some real damage. You can actually hear it on the radio, and nobody does anything with it. So I'm just going to take this thing with me, and I'll figure out something to do with it at home, since nobody here is. I could use a staple gun at home.
For a long time, I thought when you got medical staples, if you had an accident, that's what they used. That was the procedure. They just smacked that thing up against your head and just clicked it one time, and they were stapling you shut. When I was getting staples one time after an accident, that's how I envisioned it. It was some, nurse with big forearms who had a lot of, oomph on that squeeze that was just stapling my head shut. But it was a lot more, serene than that.
I had the staples too. And I had a little tricycle accident as a 6-year-old.
I was playing tackle football in the back of a moving Christian rock band tour bus.
Come again? That's another one of those come again things.
Exactly.
That goes along with staple gun matches.
Yeah, well, it was Christmas time. We're going around to see the lights in the city, and me and my cousin, we decided it would be a good idea to play a little bit of tackle football back there, and they had the cabinets. The corner of my head met the corner of a cabinet. I think it was Christmas Eve in the hospital somewhere in Oklahoma. I think it was around Sallisaw when I was just a wee lad. But I was envisioning them saying, hey, you had to get staples, and I just thought that it was like that, some lady with a staple gun just clicking away.
We had Thanksgiving. I must have been 9, 10, 11, and my sisters, I have twin sisters, and we're out at my aunt and uncle's house, or I guess just aunts, but it's the first game I remember watching Army Navy because my sister wrecked the 3-wheeler, almost split her foot in half, and so we had to go to the emergency room to get her the staples and stuff. So we sat in there 2, 3, 4 hours, watched the Army Navy game that day.
And you'll never forget.
It's the first time I remember watching the Army Navy game because it was a standalone game, and we don't really do Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving Day. It's just whenever you're doing it as a family, and that was the day that the staples. I never had staples though.
Well, we're not going to start now. Maybe I should put this thing back where it belongs. It's pretty dangerous. I am the kind of person that might accidentally, who knows? Oh, he shot Marvin in the face, that kind of thing.
Man, the car hit a bump.
Well, I've dry fired the staple gun in here too to check and see that it works. It's functionality, so you're not alone in just firing them off into the corner. I did pick them up, so that's all.
I dare Ty Richardson to walk into this booth any minute now. Nah, I would never do that to him. Somebody else might, but it won't be me.
That's how our unit, our one and only unit, he had the same thing that happened to my sister when she had to go get her toe, her foot back in, and
that's how it happened for C-toe.
I think, yep, the C9.
I didn't realize that. I knew that he had it, that he'd lost it. I didn't know how it happened. Well, thanks for sending in the information there, Christian. If I would have known we'd have brought this up, I'd have brought this up about an hour ago.
He carries himself like a man that has all 10. He really does.
That's right.
If not 11.
Right.
There's something you can kind of put there to act as the balancer.
I don't know. I was thinking talking about how the Razorbacks have kind of shot themselves in the foot all year, but they've also, you said there was kind of 2 steps forward and 1 step back, or 1 step back and 2 steps forward. It's just an inconsistent thing. It made me think about if they were shooting themselves in the foot, they were probably just shooting off 1 or 2 toes at a time, and it got me to thinking, which toes would you not need? You'd obviously need the 2 on the outside, and then I think for stability's sake, you'd need the big middle one. I'd say lop off the 2 in between those. I don't know. I'm not a foot expert.
Hey guys, let me cut in here for a moment. There is we got a little breaking news.
Let me toe myself in here.
Patrick Kudus is going into the transfer portal.
He doesn't play anyways.
No, he does. He's the starting left guard.
When did he starting this year?
After the back injury.
Oh, okay. So that
you remember he was the one that they were preserving
his red shirt
for somebody else.
He's probably our most talented. I mean, him and Carmona, but yeah, he's super talented. He hadn't played. We hadn't played much. That's a big L right there for the Hogs. I like him.
That's a big toe.
He got starts at tackle last year. Not the entire season. Remember, he and Chambly would. No. Chambly and Manuel were. Kudus played a lot.
Yeah, because Manuel, he stepped away from the game, right? Then transferred.
Kudus played a lot. He would have been a starting guard this year had he not had the back injury at the very start of camp. So I don't think he made his first start until if it was LSU or Mississippi State. And then I even remember Sam being asked about, so Kudus is coming back because they actively helped him preserve the red shirt. And I think he didn't answer that definitively, but you can sort of answer the question for yourself. End up preserving his red shirt for someone else.
He probably, I don't know what the money situation is, but that being said, I think he's our most talented offensive lineman is what I was saying for going forward. So you're looking at that and you're saying, hey, our offensive line isn't very good, but that's our most talented one. Now he's gone because I'm sure somebody paid him a little loot.
Isn't continuity on the offensive line more of a premium than it is anywhere else? You would think that you want that unit to stay as intact as possible.
You want talent, but you need familiarity. You're exactly right. Like you see this. I think you see this in basketball. And Phil asked a question a couple days ago about why was the offense going down a little bit as far as across the league. I think it's a little bit of that. You go out there, you're like, well, this guy's better than him. This guy's better than him. But if they don't know each other, you don't know how to respond. You know, is he that much better that you're going to put him in? So yes, offensive line is just it's a tango. It's a two-step. It's a dance move. A lot of times you're in unison. A lot of times you'll have three hands on one player. So you kind of when you're changing levels, you got to work together to move up. So yes, man, it's that's one of the most important spots, and that's something that I thought. Having Coach Pittman as our coach wouldn't be a detriment to the team. I thought our offensive line would be a strength, and it really hasn't the last couple of years.
Well, and so now looking at the line, Carmona announced he's coming back.
I like Carmona
tackle.
too, yeah.
You're looking for a new left guard now with Kudus going into the portal. Nichols at center, no announcement from him. Josh Braun at right guard, 1 year of eligibility to left. They're trying to get him to come back, and then there's a Marion Harris at right tackle. Still waiting for an announcement from him because I just assume we need announcements to know whether you're staying or going. I guess the coaches might know. And, I know Sam was supposed to have a press conference yesterday that they canceled or maybe postponed. I don't know when they've rescheduled it, but I'm assuming it will be. This will obviously be one of the early questions asked because they did Kudus a solid, I think, with the expectations that he would come back, and he's not coming back. Great specials going on at Fish City Grill these days. Chimichurri shrimp tacos topped with avocado crema, pico de gallo, cheddar jack cheese, and cilantro. You'll get Cuban black beans and rice as your sides. The Fish Witch, beer battered haddock with dill tartar sauce, lettuce, and cheddar cheese. And also ask about the new Mystic Mermaid oysters topped with cucumber lime mignonette. Nothing like them in the area. That's Fish City Grill, South Bellevue Road in Rogers. FishCityGrill.com and 479-636-8833 to get your curbside pickup or delivery. Brett Dolan will join halftime in just a moment. Stay with us.
Who wants an orange whip? Orange whip? Orange whip? 3 orange whips.
This is halftime.
5 seconds to go. Matt, right side. Three-pointer on the way. No good. Close with the dunk at the buzzer. It goes and Arkansas wins. It goes and Arkansas wins. Pauls with a two-hand finish. Arkansas wins the ball game.
Listen to every Razorback basketball game right here on ESPN 95.3 and hitthatline.com.
Valley Family Dental, formerly known as Riley Farm Dental, at the entrance to Riley Farms, provides every type of dental care and procedure for you and your family. Dr. Sparkman, Farmer, and now Dr. Blaine Van Nice work to give all of their patients better lives with a better smile. Valley Family Dental, now offering same-day crown service. Mention you heard this ad on ESPN Radio at your next appointment and receive a free bleaching kit or $100 off in-office accelerated whitening. Call 226-3500 for an appointment or visit valleyfamilydentalpractice.com.
You never know what you will walk up on or find over the hill at the Tackle Box. For almost 50 years, the Tackle Box has been your home for hunting and fishing supplies and some of the best outdoor stories. Whether guns, ammo, fishing supplies, or home decor, come back and see them again. They even buy your old fishing tackle or guns. The Tackle Box, your sports store for hunting, fishing, firearms, and more. 3010 Street, Fort Smith, 646-3193.
The adventure starts at the Tackle Box for sportsmen just like you.
When you need tough and paint just isn't enough, check out River City Coatings in Van Buren. When it comes to your metals, paint can peel and crack over time. Whether it's your patio furniture, rims or trims on your automobile, or heavy equipment, no one has time for a redo. Powder coating provides the toughness you need. Preserve your investment with powder coating from River City Coatings. River City Coatings, certified John Deere, Caterpillar, ISO 9001, Packer, and UL provider of tough. River City Coatings, 471-7675 or online at rivercitycoatings.com.
The Study Basketball Training has moved to the Hangout in Fort Smith. With basketball training classes from kindergarten through high school, there is a spot for your athlete. Depending on your skill set and training needs, The Study offers 3 class options: fundamentals, advanced, and 94 feet. You can also work on your explosiveness with Vertimax training or perfect your shot on the Dr. Dish machine. The Hangout, 5400 Gary Street, or thestudyhoops.com for more details. Fitness, sports, and now The Study Basketball Training. Let's hang out.
Finding your joy in cycling is the main goal at Champion Cycling. Champion Cycling takes pride in helping you find the right bike. Whether it's a road bike, mountain bike, or just a bike for leisure, Champion Cycling has a great selection of bikes, including brands like Specialized Surly and Salsa. Need service or repair? The friendly, professionally trained technicians will assess your bike's needs and provide you with a free, no-obligation estimate. Find your joy in cycling at Champion Cycling, 5500 Mazur Road in Fort Smith.
Hey everybody, this is Tyson Fan. Dad, tell everyone about your job at Mike Jr.'s Mobile Wash.
Power washing, son. I've been working in the business for over 15 years, all over the River Valley and Northwest Arkansas, residential or commercial. At Mike Jr.'s Mobile Wash, our cleaning services include exterior home, fence, driveways, walkways, gutters, full deck cleansing, and more.
Call my dad at 479-763-5561. Mike Jr.'s Mobile Wash. One call, cleans it all.
Are you an angler having trouble finding all the bait, tackle, and more for your fishing needs? Make Awake Bait and Tackle, now located in Fort Smith next to Witts Marine on North 11th Street, is your place. Make Awake Bait and Tackle also has the largest selection of plastics in the River Valley. Reactor Innovation, Bobby Garland, Zoom, Mega Bass, and more. Check out the Daiwa Rod and Reels. Make Awake Bait and Tackle, 803 North 11th Street in Fort Smith, 479-926-9320. Also get your rod and reels repaired. Come see us next to Witts Marine at Make Awake Bait and Tackle.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
She sat right down, sober, said, where have you been? I've been waiting for you. Last night I had something so good. These days get so long, I got nothing to do.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Want to jump in the conversation? Call or text 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Headed to our hotline on a Thursday afternoon, and Brett Dolan is with us, Touchdown Radio and Arkansas Razorback Athletics, Perfect Game, and all sorts of other things. Brett, where are you today?
I'm here at Bud Walton Arena today, so how about that?
Yeah, man, that's a surprise. You were in Cancun last week. They couldn't stay.
I wish I had to get to Oregon, where it was really cold for the final regular season game, and then make my way back here with a red eye that didn't quite get here and not sleeping for 48 hours. But I made it. I'm back.
So you're somebody that has had your eyes on quite a few of the teams that are in the conversation for the college football playoff 12. And with all the research that goes into this as well, how do you feel about what the 12 looks like right now?
It's a great question. And I think that we're still not done shifting the deck chairs around based on if Clemson can take down SMU, which I think they might be able to do. I think they've done a pretty good job. In other words, I don't have an exception with Miami being placed behind Alabama. I think there are some teams in the top 12 that have clearly not played the schedule that others have, and that would be an SMU. That would, also be a Texas for that matter. There have been a handful of teams that just haven't played the same type of schedule, but I think the committee's done as good of a job as they possibly can. And to me, I think the big one, of course, is still that Miami and Alabama look. And I do think Alabama's a better team than Miami, or Miami's wins aren't as good and their losses are a little more ugly. So right now, as it sits, I think they've done a pretty good job.
Do you think Oregon is I know they don't have a blemish, this Oregon-Penn State matchup. I don't know how you see it going. Do you think Oregon is the most talented team? And I ask that being up front, the offensive and defensive line, do you think they can compete with an SEC, with a Tennessee, with a Georgia, with a Texas?
I think so, Matt. I think they're clearly deserving of being number one. And after I left Eugene Saturday, one of their higher-ups said, how do we compare? And I said, well, right now you guys are probably the best all-around team, and that encompasses offense, defense, special teams. They don't make a lot of mistakes. I think they're pretty good up front. It's a little bit of a troubling issue to go back across the country and play on a Friday night in a Big Ten championship game. I still think they're the best team, and even if they would lose to Penn State, who's I think like 1 of 13 against top 5 teams under James Franklin, they would then host a game at Autzen Stadium. We've seen some crazy stuff happen, and the one thing they've done is avoid the chaos to this point. But there's more to come. I think they're deserving of where they're at, and in a year where the SEC doesn't have the heavyweights, at least that they've had a few years ago, of the Georgias and Alabamas and whatnots, I think they're clearly deserving of being the top team.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, you brought this up, and this is something Phil and I have been talking about all week, and this is something I'm really interested in. I wanted to get your thought on this. Clemson beats SMU. Both those teams are in the playoff 12, right? Do you think if Clemson beats SMU that it's a one big bid league?
I think if they beat them and look good doing it, yes. I think if it's a 27-24 game, no. I mean, SMU played, Matt, I think they played 5 teams in their league that are 3 and 5 or worse.
Yeah.
Didn't have a single ranked win, 75th strength of schedule. I'm intrigued to watch this team because of their offense, the way they score points. This is going to be a veritable home game for Clemson. And I think they can win this game. I hate picking these ACC games. The one thing that really gave me pause, though, on SMU last week, they had 17 freaking penalties in a game. I don't know how you can be one of the elite teams in the country and have 17 penalties in a month, let alone a game. So I'm curious what that looks like and what'll kind of be a home game for Clemson. But I do think if they lose by 9-10 points or more, I don't think they're getting in.
Is it the brand that is protecting, meaning the conference brand, that is protecting Penn State and Indiana? Or is it the record necessarily? Because the brand has to mean something there.
I think it helps a little bit. You get to this point where when you start comparing, and this is the great Alabama-Miami argument, 2 losses versus 3 losses, I think you can jump a team. When it's 1 loss, it's harder to do so. It's harder to say a 1-loss Indiana team needs to be bumped behind a 3-loss Ole Miss or Alabama. I think had Indiana lost 1 more game, clearly they would be out. I think had some of these 3-loss SEC teams won 1 more game, they would be ahead of Indiana. The brand does help to a certain point. And then Indiana, sometimes you got to get a little bit of luck too. I mean, they were out after they had lost to Ohio State. Then, by all the losing that occurred in the SEC after their game the same day, they're back in. That Ohio State team doesn't look as good as maybe they did when they defeated Indiana, but it wasn't enough to bump them out. In any other year, if you go and get throttled in the one big game you have, you'd be done, but not this year with all the chaos that follows.
Iowa State, Arizona State. I think everybody in the Big 12 is wondering what happened to Kansas. They beat 3 straight ranked opponents in 3 straight weeks. BYU sitting there, didn't get to make it to the championship game. Anyway, the Big 12 gets to is BYU. Could they get in, or is the committee not going to jump anybody that's up that's not in the championship game?
No, I don't think so. And I think the bigger issue is just the fact that they'll be the lowest of the conference champions. I mean, Boise State will get a bye, and I don't think the Big 12 will. I'm an Iowa guy, would not pick Iowa State, but every time we anoint a Big 12 team as the favorite, and we've done this a handful of times with BYU and Colorado, they all lose. And Arizona State right now, I guess, would be the favorite of that game. But, I mean, Iowa State has, I would think, a decent chance to win that. But it's fascinating because, we're talking about 2 former Pac-12 schools in new leagues that are favorites, including Oregon and Arizona State. We got a former American conference team that's a favorite in the ACC championship game. And then we got a former, there's one more. They're all these teams that have come from different leagues that we thought they would take a little bit of a knockdown and maybe fall back a bit, are actually favored in their conference championship games with Oregon and even SMU. So I don't think they can get two. I think their bigger issue, though, for the Big 12 is I think there will be some complaints that they do not get the bye like Boise State. More than likely will if they can beat a pretty decent UNLV team for the second time.
I've never felt that you make your case for a tournament based on what happens in your conference tournament, both in baseball and in basketball. And I feel that you shouldn't be playing yourself out. You shouldn't be able to. It should be the regular season that makes the difference on how someone that's in a committee is deciding whether or not you belong in the field of 68 or 64 or the field of 12. I begin to think, why are we now doing championship games in the SEC and the Big Ten when it's perfectly understood that both teams that are in these leagues championships are going to the playoff 12, and Tennessee is sitting there and Indiana is sitting there, and they're like, well, Ohio State, we don't have to play.
Alabama.
But see, there's
maybe
the maybe aspect
of
that too. And it's the same thing we talk about in the baseball tournament, maybe not so much in basketball, but in terms of baseball, I think we do. These should not be the things that make any sort of automatic bid towards a tournament. It's the regular season that ought to be doing it. But I also don't know if this is a world where the SEC will look at the money that they make for televising that game and the gate and all of that, although I don't think as many people will show up for those games now. Because they're going to save money to go to the playoffs. So maybe at some point the Big Ten and SEC title games go away, but the other leagues, apparently they still need their championship game to figure out who's playing in the 12.
I mean, unless we started going from 4 to 12, Phil, we didn't even stop at 8. We went to 12, and it seems like 16 is coming. I said, well, you can't keep playing these damn conference championship games, and I know why they're doing it. It's a spectacle. It's one more weekend. It's big money. It's television money. The ratings will be obscene this week, probably across the Big Ten and the SEC games. But I'm with you. It's harder to justify that these games are important when Ohio State, after an ugly loss, is probably in a better position now, minus the bye. But, I mean, they're still going to get a home game. Certainly Alabama might be in the same situation, Indiana. I don't think you need these conference championship games. The one caveat, though, is in these mega conferences, and I wasn't thrilled about seeing Ohio State and Oregon again, but it would have been a good matchup. You finally get some matchups that didn't occur in the regular season because these teams don't meet. The Oregon didn't play Penn State, and Arizona State, I don't believe, played Iowa State. And you're having, and whether this is by design or by luck, some of the best teams aren't even playing in the regular season. And I think that's more important for the Big 12 and the ACC because I'm not sure any of these teams are any good, and let alone when you don't play the other good teams in your dang league. So at least they do it once. But I'm with you. I think ultimately, if you want to go to a bigger playoff and you want this not to stretch into February, these conference championship games need to go.
Okay, so with that said, you've seen both Georgia and Texas. What do you think happens?
I would lean Texas. Now, you go back to that one game, Phil, and I don't think Georgia had 260 total yards, and yet they dominated the game. Carson Beck threw some picks. He didn't look good. Texas looked terrible. You talk about scheduling again, and while I think Texas is pretty good, I think there are half a dozen teams in the SEC that have won 9 games or more. Texas faced exactly one of them and lost to them, meeting Georgia. I do like Texas. I do think, though, this is the same as the ACC game. This is going to be a home game for Georgia, just as Clemson's going to have a home game against SMU. I don't know if that'll matter, but I do think Texas is a little more consistent and a little better. But you've got 2 quarterbacks in Ewers and Beck, who we thought the world of coming into this year, and are still pretty good, but are not elite, and they're capable of some really bad games. I would suggest the winner not have a bad game. But I probably would slightly lean Texas in that game, but they're going to have to play much better than they did the first time around.
All right, I gotta end with just a little baseball thing with you here because of this dumb golden at bat idea. Could we maybe put another rule along with a golden at bat? How about like the mystery base? Once the ball's put into play, the umpire screams, "You're on to second base instead of first base now." Makes just as much sense.
I think the best part of this is all the pitchers taking to social media with their outrage. And one today, I don't even know who it was. Maybe Jameson Tyone has said, "Can we have an extra outfielder? Can when the pitcher throw out a 4th outfielder or a 5th infielder?" one time a game for a mystery at bat in the other direction. It's certainly getting some conversation. I can't imagine. Can you imagine this working?
Nope.
I mean, we're still shifting in college baseball. We haven't figured out how to stop doing that when the major leagues. I don't know how we're going to throw a golden at bat in there. Because you see in the college game, if they could throw a Dylan Cruz or a Jack Caglione up one more time in a game, that would not be what anybody wants to see.
Well, I'm glad you can confirm at least my thought about it shares your thought about it, because I think it's the dumbest idea I've ever heard. Even if it's just to get conversation, it's really dumb. But Brett, I appreciate you hopping on today. Thanks a lot.
You got it, guys. Always
Thanks, Brett. 877-377-6963 to get with us on halftime. Always brought to you by WT Equipment. They have the best deals on the year going on right now on all their model year 2023 and select 2024 Workmaster and Boomer compact tractors. Right now, you choose 0% financing for up to 72 months, or you take up to $8,500 in cash back. For a limited time, you get a free loader with your purchase. That's the best deals of the year going on right now during Value Bonanza at WT Equipment in Springdale or any of their 7 other locations. These offers end December 31st. The home stretch of halftime. We'll be back right after this.
Can you fly this plane and land it?
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
This is Halftime. You can now download our new app in the iTunes or Google Play Store. Listen anytime and anywhere on your favorite mobile device. Just search Hit That Line now.
Bet Saracen is Arkansas's #1 mobile app for placing sports wagers.
There's big news in the mobile sports betting business. Bet Saracen was just named the 15th largest sports book in America. That's because Arkansans like to do business with a winner. Find all your winners on Bet Saracen. Download it today and look for my RR prop bet specials. I pick them, you win them.
Bet Saracen is Arkansas's favorite sports wagering app.
Gambling problem? Call 800-522-4700.
Hitting the road this summer? Do what truck drivers do. Bring plenty of 5-Hour Energy. You'll get the alert, energized feeling you need to get where you're going and do everything you want to do when you get there. It's small, light, and portable, like it was made for road trips. Just crack it open, knock it back, and keep both hands on the wheel. Because when it comes to road trips,
Are we there yet?
safety comes first. 5-Hour Energy. Energy on the go. For more information, visit 5hourenergy.com.
You're listening to Halftime Live from the Crabtree RV Center studios. Crabtree RV Center, where RVing is life.
In the communities we serve, we know your energy is best spent on the things you enjoy. That's why we're helping you save your energy with natural gas. More efficient than other energy sources, save your energy for cheering on the Hogs. Be tailgate ready with your natural gas-powered outdoor grill. Enjoy fast, cozy comfort from your natural gas fireplace when ball games get chilly. At AOG, we know your Razorback pride runs deep. Ours does too. And so does our commitment to caring for the communities we serve with always on energy. Visit AOGC.com.
Remodeling your bathroom? Don't let your imagination be limited by out-of-the-box shower doors or tub enclosures. Arkansas Glass and Mirror is your local source for all things glass, including plexiglass, mirrors, and shower doors since 1964. Arkansas Glass and Mirror has more selections, better prices, and the experience to help you build the shower of your dreams. They also have the only showroom in the area to help you create those dreams. Professional installation and professional service. Only at Arkansas Glass and Mirror, 1316 South Zero, Fort Smith, or online at arkansasglassandmirror.com.
Precision Garage Door features the finest quality materials, installation, and service for all your garage door needs, including garage door repair and new garage doors and openers. Fully licensed and insured with the largest showroom in Northwest Arkansas at 1907 Town West Drive in Rogers and in Fort Smith at 416 North 10th Street. Call Precision Garage Door today at 844-PDS-DOOR or check them out online at PrecisionDoorNWA.com. Financing is available. Precision Garage Door, voted Best Garage Door Company of Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley.
Before you buy that next car or truck, stop by Broadway Motors in Van Buren. The best of the best for 2 straight years. Michael and his team offer the best prices on the best quality pre-owned vehicles in the River Valley. They invite you to stop by and check it out for yourself. Or if you prefer to check out their inventory online or even do your financing online. Michael has built his reputation as a husband, father, and owner-operator since 2006. Broadway Motors, 806 Broadway in Van Buren, or online at BroadwayMotorsAR.com.
Come get you some. 2728 Townsend Avenue is your off-road and performance center headquarters. They've got everything from lift kits, wheels, LED light bars, UTV parts and accessories, winches and tires. Need general 4x4 repair? No problem. Come get you some has one of the largest 4x4 shops in the States. They do it all, from installing a bug shield to building some of the baddest off-road machines in the country. Call them today at 782-6833. That's 782-MUD. Or check them out online at cgysoffroad.com. Come get you some.
Watch every Hog game this season at Joe's Grill and Cantina, your home for half-price apps and taps during every Hog game. With TVs all around the restaurant, you'll have a front-row seat for all the action. Half-price appetizers like Joe's Sampler Platter, Ballpark Nachos, 10-layer dip, brisket nachos, and Mexican pizza. And ask about Joe's tailgate packages to make your football experience even better in the comfort of your home. Half-price apps and taps for every Hog game at Joe's Grill and Cantina, 3400 South 74th Street, across from Harps.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3. Welcome back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Got a question or comment for the guys? Call or text 877-377-6963. Let's get back to the show with the voice of Arkansas Razorback baseball, Phil Elson, and Razorback football legend Matt Jones.
I was really tired last night. I fell asleep in the second half of the Duke-Auburn game. Turned out to be one of only 2 losses by the SEC in this ACC-SEC challenge.
Yeah, I saw where Bama kind of handled. You know who scares me a little bit, Phil? Bama basketball. I like their guard. He's the Dylan Gabriel of guards. Like, he can't play in the NBA. That's the reason he came back for another year. But he's going to be an All-American, All-Conference guard, Sears. And then you got the other, you got your other homie that's pretty good as well.
Spreewell, I know they're going to be out. I think his name is Wrightsell, one of their top guards, out for the season with an injury, but it didn't stop them from pasting North Carolina in the Dean Dome. And it isn't just the 14-2 record for the SEC against that league. I mean, they kicked the living crap out of the Ace. It wasn't just like 2 or 3 point wins, like Arkansas wins by 3. I remember going through all the blowouts yesterday from Tuesday's games. I mean, Bama wins by a 94-79 final. In Chapel Hill, Florida blew out Virginia by 18. Mississippi State took Pitt, who was ranked, to the woodshed by 23 points. Texas had a 4-point win, but it's on the road in Raleigh. And Vanderbilt beat Virginia Tech by 16. I mean, there were more 15-plus point blowouts than even close games.
So we have the selection committee in basketball where we don't really look at these rankings. I mean, we had your boy on earlier from the 0-9 Oklahoma State Cowboys, where they had Darren McFadden in the backfield. That they couldn't get it done this year, but it's because the preseason rankings. You think they're going to be. When that being said, when do you start buying in to these college basketball rankings? Because really, right now, you can't buy into. Arkansas is already outside the top 25. Arkansas has played 2 teams that are going to make the NCAA tournament. We're 0-2. I think we're going to play a Michigan team that I think will be in the NCAA tournament. So that'll be our third chance. But when do you have to be? What I'm getting at is the changeover. Miami has 11 new players. We have everybody except Brazil's new. Right. So how do we know that these rankings are like, yeah, there's 3? I don't think we really know. But I do know this: Alabama, that's a Final Four team if they're healthy.
Well, and again, they lose one of their top guards, but it didn't appear to affect them very much in the game against North Carolina. So you might be right about that. I think Auburn's for real. I mean, just looking at some of the teams that they've beaten. They got
already. another stud in Broom or Braun, who's a guy that can't play in the NBA, and he comes back and he's an All-American type college basketball player. I mean, that's kind of. You need an NBA guy, but you got to have guys that are just college guys that understand the game, the physicality of it. Auburn's tough.
I think I'd start believing rankings a little bit now based upon who some of these teams
After 10
played.
games at least, though.
And then once you get into your conference, I think once you get into your conference, you get a much better sense because that's what you're building your team for playing inside your league. And man, I mean, if you're looking at the to go 14-2 against another league in a challenge, to me that's unheard of. These things usually end up 8-8. Think of all the times you did a matchup like this with the Big 12, and I think it was tied for 3 or 4 straight years. There's been this buildup in basketball in the SEC going now for, heck, it feels like it's been going on for 10 or 12 years where, you got better coaches in, better players have come in, a little more focus on basketball, more money put into the sport, better facilities in a lot of cases too. And maybe, just maybe, is it the same as in football right now? There's in baseball right now where they are, I think, unquestionably the best in college sports. But right now, if you're going by beating the league that markets itself, and rightfully so, for decades as the kings of college basketball, and they just beat the snot out of them, you realize how difficult this league is going to be starting in January. Big Ten, by the way, is already playing league games now. We're waiting another month.
Who is the head coach at North Carolina right now? You think Duke and North Carolina, those are the class of the conference, but they got 2 new coaches in the last 3 years, and so they're kind of. You still feel kind of like the Saban thing kind of hovering over Alabama. You kind of still feel that with Roy Williams and Coach K over those 2 programs.
Hubert Davis.
He's a North Carolina guy. That's right. I think Duke went with a Duke guy too. Didn't they both go with
Shire?
Yep. He's a Duke guy. You saw Syracuse go with the Syracuse guy when Boeheim, when he left. I don't know if he's still there, but I do remember watching the kid play. He was a shooting guard for him.
Kentucky went with a Kentucky guy too. Not always. It's not something they've always done either. In fact, I think it's one of the first times they've ever done it. And it seems to work out for them, although, they were one of the 2 teams that lost in this SEC-ACC challenge. Now, let's take this basketball idea and move it over to football, where SEC versus Big Ten. They were talking about this a couple of weeks ago. You may end up seeing some kind of a challenge moving forward where there's Big Ten versus SEC. Now, you want to talk about data points. It's the word that Ward Manuel threw out there a lot on the show Tuesday night on ESPN. Data points about games. Well, nobody does this. There are no football league versus league challenges. If this would be the one that makes a lot of sense, then you have real data points and things that could, actually have a lot to do with who's ranked ahead of who when these 2 leagues play each other. Because outside of that, how many of these games actually got played this year? You had Alabama beat Wisconsin. Texas beat Michigan. I might be missing a couple of other Big Ten SEC games, but it's just very rare that these games happen. Would love the idea of it happening on an annual basis, because then you do get some sort of separator between the 2 unquestioned best leagues in the sport.
I'd like for him to mirror it as well. So if you finish first the year before and you just go based on the last year's rankings, I know there's going to be a little turnover, a little change, but I think that's the most you can't do it during the season. They can't do flex scheduling like, oh, okay, now you're going to do this, but they can do it from the year before. Whoever finishes first, you go first. And I like that idea instead of the SEC. I know we had Fisherman Clay Henry on yesterday, and he said no, that we're not going to go to the SEC's not going to go to a 9-game schedule. I agree with him. I don't think the SEC should go with the 9-game schedule. But you add that Big Ten matchup, that's your extra game right there. Stick with the 8-game schedule. Go. That's your cross. And then your other 3, you can do whatever you want. I know Shane Beamer came out and said, why would we want to go play anybody good when our conference is tough enough as it is? We need cupcakes. And it makes sense because there's going to be 4 teams now, it looks like, from the SEC every year that are going to get in. So it doesn't matter who you play in the non-conference.
So then at that point, do you play an FCS game still? Do you still play
try to play 3 of them if you
can?
Yeah.
Do you play, there's a rule when you're scheduling in the SEC, because there are 8 games, you have to play another Power 5 or Power 4 or
and
major
if you got a Big Ten, that just takes care of it right there.
It really does. The difference is the Big Ten already plays 9 games, and then they play a major, and then they play an FCS, and then they play a group of 5. But I wonder if they would lower the number of league games they play, which would end up disappointing their television partners. because they're paying for those Big Ten games. That's the aspect of this. It just seems that it makes more sense in one aspect, but financially, it's the same idea as the championship games. Financially, it doesn't make sense to the TV partners. Now, who's running the sport?
It helps if you get a bye. You know, the thing is what's gonna be, and injuries happen. We know this in football. It's a collision sport. But when somebody's in this championship game, let's say Big Ten, and I'm not wishing injury in our announcer's curse or whatever, but let's say Dylan Gabriel gets a little banged up or he can't play, gets hurt at Penn State. Drew Hollard, both those quarterbacks, Quinn Ewers, Carson Beck, whatever. Let's say one of those quarterbacks gets banged up and can't play anymore the rest of the season, and it goes back to what Rhett Lashley said. If they don't play at all, then they wouldn't be punished and they would be in. But then now, does stuff like that, the committee, they've shown it last year that they'll do it. Your quarterback gets hurt in this game and they don't think you can go on, they'll bump you out.
I think Travis, the Florida State quarterback we're talking about, was hurt in their final regular season game last year. I think the backup played in the ACC championship. So that, to me, that was like the data point they were going by. It was like, well, this team looks so much different with this guy at quarterback. That's the only reason they did this. I think in the Ohio State case, was it J.T. Barrett that was the starting quarterback that got hurt?
And then you had Cardell Jones, but then you had somebody else in between that had played a little bit as well, yeah.
I wonder if it's a matter of, well, we've seen what you're like with this guy, and you're nowhere near the same. It would be a little different for like a Texas with Arch Manning.
That's
just
true.
Appreciating the idea
they had a little talent
of the kind of quarterback that he's already shown he can be at times, even coming in, filling in when Ewers was hurt. But hey, we're doing this in basketball, and it's a data point. Which just watch the net rankings of the Big Ten compared to the SEC the rest of the season. Based on this. I mean, there will be Big Ten teams that are ranked better by the computer than the SEC, but on a whole, the teams that are in the upper half of the SEC are going to be pretty well ahead of the upper half in the Big Ten in the net rankings, and that pays dividends on Selection Sunday.
And you mean the ACC as well?
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, we got our Big Ten with football, we got our ACC with basketball. You can do the same thing with football. I think you should do the same thing with football.
I think it's a great idea. I mean, you're getting a little cross matchup. It's apparently the two best conferences, and I think the committee's shown their hand too. That it's 4-4. That's what it is. It's 8 teams out of the Big Ten and the SEC, and a down year is going to be 7. A down year is going to be 7, but you kind of know what the parameters are. It's 4 teams out of the SEC, 4 teams out of the Big Ten, and then you got 4 spots left up for grabs.
And then we figure out whenever we're going to do 14 teams or 16 teams, and that is just going to be an amoeba. All right, we'll break in a moment. Time to wrap up halftime right after this.
Last issue. Chaz Michaels is figure skating.
This is halftime.
Even though the holidays are almost here, there is still time to get results for your body with a personal trainer right here in the River Valley from Anytime Fitness on Rye Hill. Your choice for the results you want. Black Friday, buy one, get one, personal training specials. And new members get the rest of the year for free. Even more Black Friday specials to choose from. Anytime Fitness on Rye Hill on 71 North. Ask about our giveaway from our partner, First Form and Vortex Optics. Anytime Fitness on Rye Hill, ready to help you train for the body you deserve. Anytime Fitness. Rye Hill.
Waldron Wave Rural Connect. Internet is now available in your area. Fast fiber internet and full-featured home phone are ready for you. This covers areas around Waldron, Bates, Winfield, Y-City, and more. Check out your address online today. The best whole home solution of internet and phone, all from a local provider you can trust. Order online at signup.waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-492-8372. Arkansas Valley Electric and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
You will never find a boring old burger at Art's Barbecue and Burgers in Fort Smith. Try the Wild West Burger, topped with a hot link, jalapenos, and Art's hot sauce. The Brisket Burger, with tender brisket and caramelized onions on top of their hand-patted burger. Or the famous Art Attack, with house bacon, smoked ham, an onion ring, and a fried egg. There are 10 different burgers to choose from, and they're all $1 off every Saturday. Art's Barbecue Burgers and more. Rogers Avenue, next to Buddy's in Fort Smith.
Man, I wish I knew you were here. We hear that every day at In Stock Parts, located off Highway 45 across from the cold storage in Fort Smith. Are you a maintenance technician, landscaper, farmer, or do-it-yourselfer in need of bearings, belts, or roller chain? Or safety supplies like gloves, safety glasses, or earplugs? Maybe you need drill bits, tap and die sets, lubricants, or even a gas-powered pump or generator. Don't waste your time driving around. Stop by In Stock Parts, your industrial parts resource, or check them out online at InStockParts.com. In Stock Parts.
Who can you trust to sell your home for the most money with the least amount of drama? You need a team of agents with decades of experience, commitment, and of course, tens of thousands in marketing. I'm talking about the Limbird team. Tara Limbird Real Estate Group has sold over $1 billion in real estate. Tara's team can give you a cash offer in 72 hours, or use Tara's high-octane marketing to sell your home quite possibly for thousands over asking. Find out more at LimbirdTeam.com. LIMBIRD.
When you need legal help, turn to the law offices of Craig L. Cook. With over 40 years combined experience, the Cook Law Team works for you. If you've been injured in an auto accident, hurt on the job, a victim of nursing home negligence, or need help with bankruptcy, Social Security, wills, trusts, estates, or family law issues, Craig Cook will go to work for you. Call us today, 479-783-8000. The law offices of Craig L. Cook with locations in Arkansas and Oklahoma. We work for working people.
The best selection of RVs is now even better at Wheels RV in Springdale. Wheels RV has added Brinkley RVs to the already loaded lineup of Grand Design and Forest River products. See the Brinkley Model Z, the latest innovation in luxury fifth wheels. And like always, every new RV comes with a lifetime warranty, so you can camp with confidence. So stop in and find out why Wheels has been voted best RV dealer year after year. Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off of I-49 in Springdale. Seek, explore, discover with Wheels RV.
Why do people love Shamrock Liquor Warehouse? Simple. They've got it all. 70 years in business, 15,000 square feet of choices. They buy in volume so you can save. What else? How about the largest selection of everything? Shamrock's got it. Special orders? Shamrock's got it. Convenient drive-through, open 6 days a week? Shamrock's got it. Need a keg for your party? Shamrock's got it. Load up at Shamrock Liquor Warehouse at the corner of Midland and Riverfront Drive in Fort Smith.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
The sound of pouring rain. When we whisper and I think of you, and all that's is a cry that call my name. And when we are near, I can't trust you. Paint a picture of the days gone by. When love went by, and you would make me see. I'd still dive into your eyes.
Make sure to follow Halftime on Twitter at HitThatLineAR and on Facebook and Instagram at HitThatLine. Call or text 877-377-6963. Now back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Well, I appreciate everybody calling in today. We've had some great calls, texts, our guests with their memories of Bob Holt, our very good friend who used to join us on Thursdays. Bob unfortunately passed away last night at 10:30 in the evening. This would have been the day he would join us on Halftime. And Matt Zimmerman puts it in a way that I think hits. It hits. You know, you say somebody covered the athletic department since 1981. You know, what about the idea that Bob Holt covered every Razorback player and coach with integrity in Matt's tweet since 1981? And it's not just football, and it's not just basketball. It's women's basketball. It's baseball. It's track. I think Bob might have been the most he was the guy that we would ask about track because I don't know much about it. You know some about it, Matt. We could ask Bob about what's going on with the Arkansas track program, and he had all sorts of information to tell you about it. So to cover that just hits it hard. For going now for 43 years to cover every single player and coach, and for them to obviously give that respect right back.
Yeah, heavy hearts and wet eyes today for Bob Holt, someone that cherished and loved. And man, if there was something that you talk about a Razorback way or doing things the right way, I know you bring up the word integrity. That's you find Bob Holt.
It's difficult to define what integrity is, but you
know it when you see it.
It's like yacht rock. You know it when you hear it. You know it when you see it. And the way that Bob Holt communicated with
he was such a reluctant superstar. He
Yep.
was just so humble, and the way the humility, the way he went about it. I think that was. We had the caller that called in for him today. I don't know why my mind's blanking, but the stories all the stories they were telling. That's kind of how the theme was, just how humble
But
he was.
isn't it interesting to think? I mean, there are some media members out there that want to be stars. You can tell by the way that they communicate, by the way that they do their thing, even in terms of some writers. But it's, in this case, the one who would have never thought that could be something that he would be and would never try to achieve being like that. He ends up becoming the most respected writer in the sport, and absolutely, Matt, the word is correct, a star.
Well, he will be missed, and 45, good work today.
Colton, thanks a lot. Matt, thanks, of course, for helping me through this today. This is not the easiest stuff to talk about. And for Kristen Johnston, from Brett Dolan, Grant Hall, and Danny West. If you missed any of that today, it's on the Eastside Liquor Halftime Podcast. Comes out in just a few minutes, right as Ruskin and Zach get on the air after us. Back with you tomorrow to wrap up the week. Get up, get out, and get better.
Waldron